Welcome back to 1010's podcast. My name is Michael with Adam and Robbie, and we are finally in the named studio. This is the Kanga Motorsports studio, and that's where we will be broadcasting from on a weekly basis. We have a sign on the said wall, which James was so courteous to send us. He has a vinyl cutter, so
that's nice.
He helped me with my decals last year too. So
he's gonna make me new Kangas for my spoiler.
Is he?
Out of this the blue that I already have.
Nice.
So it matches.
So yeah, you got Kangas on your spoiler right now, don't you?
He's been sponsoring my spoiler for like a year.
That's good. It's good work. Wait, on the not the new spoiler though, your old spoiler.
No, the new one.
Oh, the new one has it.
Yeah. As soon as I got the new one, I put Kangas on it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's when James made those, he had lines above and below the Kangaroo that were used for leveling.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to leave.
I left
but
them.
they lined up with Robbie's bolt holes that bolt the wing to the supports or something like, or the end plates on. And so he left them on there because they're perfectly lined up with the screws for the end plates.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It just made you feel good?
Yeah, it's perfectly parallel.
Robbie things.
Yeah, just little things
I
that
probably
make Robbie
the next one's
excited.
on.
That's right. So anyway, we're very appreciative of James for sponsoring the studio. KangaMotorsports.com. He's been on the show several times, so go back and have a listen if you're new to the show. He talked about sponsorship and then talked about Spec Racer Ford, just generally speaking, and racing in competitive SCCA regions and classes and all that stuff. So a lot of good information from him, both on the show and on his website.
Yeah, his website's very informative. He just posted a article and video on fittings.
Like AN fittings.
Yes.
Which is a world I don't understand.
Yeah, it's very, very informative.
It's
you
bookmarked
will know
so that I can
everything.
actually take time to read it and not just skim it.
Yeah.
So
Good news is I have to pull my power steering rack out again.
Well, that's fun.
Well, I should say it's the same power steering rack that was exploded is still in there.
Your
I gotta take it out.
hydraulically cooled belt tensioner?
My hydraulically cooled belt tensioner, I think, is going to come out and actually be a power steering pump again. I know people are incredibly disappointed. I've gotten many calls from companies regarding patents and development, but I think it's time for it to go. It's really just an anchor attached to the engine. So
I get it.
But so I'll put the power steering pump back in. I'll get the new rack in, and then I'm going to use AN fittings to attach to the new rack to make that whole process easier instead of those stupid hard lines with those. I don't even know what those fittings are called. Like those kind of they're flare nuts. I guess
They're like giant brake line fittings.
Yeah, yep,
kind of.
They're not even that. Yeah,
Like
that's basically what they're.
Bigger than a brake line, obviously. But
Yeah,
that same idea. You use the flare tool and
yeah,
gotta have the
exactly.
nut on there first. Or
So anyway, I got to figure out if that's possible to do that in some sort of AN fitting because it should be a lot easier.
Are you just gonna put a brand new rack in there and hope this one holds out, or
No, I'm going to get the thing that you have because you got the
It's like a reducer,
the power
pressure
reducer. Yep,
thing.
yep. So I'd rather blow up the power steering pump because that's like a $90 GM part you can get from O'Reilly's, and they'd be like, I don't know what happened. They keep blowing them up, and just get another one.
it's also probably a lot easier to install.
Oh yeah,
Like
times like a
time-wise,
million.
yeah.
But again, if it had AN fitting lines on it, it would be even easier than those stupid hard lines. So.
Yes.
But dropping that rack, I'm sure, is not fun.
No, it's a whole deal. I'm
Can
not
you
sure.
do it with the motor in the car?
In theory, yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna find out.
It should come out. If you disconnect everything, it should come out the side. In theory.
Cool.
It should. There's quite a bit of space into there.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. That's future Michael's problem.
Yeah.
That's Michael a couple months from now.
Couple months, we'll be racing.
Nah, son, I'm not going to be ready for April. You kidding me?
Oh, man, you got to be ready for
No,
it.
that
no,
attitude.
I'm not doing that shit again this year where it's like, listen, here's the thing about cars. I'm enjoying building cars, so I'm having fun doing that. The building cars to be on a timeline to get to do something that you're eventually going to break your car doing is not fun.
Yeah, I get that.
You've got a Fiat. You can go autocrossing
Yeah.
if you need
I
to
can
scratch the itch.
I go racing. I should be ready end of April, I think, probably.
That's
my guess.
a good idea.
But I'm not playing that game again where it's like
April
scramble,
1st.
scramble, and then you're stressed, and you're like, oh man, this sucks, I hate this, and then you get burned out, and you're like, hey dude, this is your hobby.
And
Relax, it's
Your
supposed
car
to be fun.
blows up 3 laps out anyway.
Yeah, because you rushed.
Because you forgot something.
Yeah, so I'm not doing that. I'm going to enjoy building cars, I'm going to enjoy racing cars, and however that schedule comes together, it comes together.
Perfect.
Not to mention that in April, there's at least a 75% chance of rain every
Yes.
single day in April. So
It's a crapshoot if you're going to be out there or not. May is a great time to start. Weather's good, sunshine, good temperatures, people are getting stuff worked out. It's a good time to be out there.
I'm a sunny day racer, and I'm proud of it.
I'm right there with you. I tried to do it in the rain a couple times.
It's like watching these people do ice racing.
Not your thing.
I'll watch from my computer. It's fine.
You couldn't pay me.
No.
What else? Robbie got us these sweet license plates.
Ricer
These
presents.
are pretty cool. Robbie got us these for all of our
They're like
cars.
aluminum.
They are
They're
aluminum.
legit.
The aluminum was cheaper
Legit
than the other
AF.
option. It was weird.
So they're pretty cool. They just say 1010s podcast for those that are listening. But worked out really good. It's black, white letters. I mean,
This way,
What
when
more can you ask for?
when I'm shooting videos, I don't have to cover my license plate with my thumb like everybody else.
Right, but you don't have to do that anyway.
I'm gonna do it anyways.
You gotta do the dude sign for it though.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah.
Well,
Make sure to put that pinky out.
No,
when
the
you're-
saw dudes when you have 2 license plates.
Well, that's really,
Yeah, that's right. I
some
saw that
next
picture.
level shit.
oh, I only got
But-
1 total.
so anyway,
I don't know what happened to the other one. It's gone.
we're appreciative of that. Those are pretty cool. So thank you for those. I think that's it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? I can't say thank you when you get us a gift.
I never hear it from anybody. So
So you're just a
it's
little-
so, it's
you're
so
just-
You're
foreign.
making
to
him
me.
feel really weird.
Yeah,
about
what's
it.
Now
this?
I'm uncomfortable.
What's this? Thank you. I work in corporate America. I don't know what the fuck that is.
A lot of tension in this room. All right. I think that's it for that. Do you want to start with our opener? Adam, are you ready for
I'm
Adam's opener
born
presented
ready.
by Factor Fabrication?
Yeah. So this week we're gonna be talking a lot about marketing.
Yes, our topic
So-
is marketing related.
So I figured, you know what? Let's talk more marketing in the opener. So we've often talked about like who's doing it right in racing and stuff like that. You know, what we would fix, what's doing wrong, why isn't this more important or more popular, stuff like that. So I was kind of wondering, by the numbers based on social media, who is doing it right in racing? So I went around and I got a number of racing sanctioning bodies, as well as some drivers in them. Got their total followers on Instagram and Facebook. I don't care about Twitter, so I just didn't bother with Twitter. And then also,
You're gonna offend a lot of people.
that's fine. Twitter's so,
I don't get Twitter, but a lot of people do.
I know, but I'm not into it.
We're the old timers.
I don't know.
These damn kids on their
I know,
Twitter.
but Instagram is not for old.
Twitter's been around for a long time now. I mean, it's kind of like a genesis
Instagram's the
almost.
hip young child.
Yeah.
No,
Nobody uses fucking Snapchat anymore.
it's true. I don't-
They were saying we had so the earnings are up or whatever. It's like, yeah,
No.
this is temporary. Nobody really uses Snapchat
Right.
anymore.
But then I also got off of Facebook how many people that I am friends with who also follow these pages, because it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, this is a very small section of it, and my friends are my friends, so you know, it's just interesting to see the skew in people here. So, but just kind of hit you off the bat here, see where this goes. If you had to take a guess, IndyCar or NHRA, who has more followers?
I would guess IndyCar, NHRA. That's a hard one.
I'll take IndyCar.
They're both kind of like not the most popular,
right.
but they're still kind of house. They're not NASCAR and F1,
No,
but they're also not, you know, Pirelli World Challenge. They're bigger names than that, at least.
I'm going to go with IndyCar, and the reason I say that is because the Indy 500.
Yep.
I think there's enough pull from that and enough marketing around that people mindlessly like things on Facebook.
Oh, God, yes.
So I think that there's okay, and then they don't even watch the race, but they hear it and yeah, I know what that is.
And the other thing is, before we dive into the numbers here, there's some very interesting disparities between Instagram and Facebook numbers depending on who you are.
yes.
Yep.
So, but anyway, IndyCar has a significantly smaller following in both Instagram and Facebook. IndyCar's got 137,000 followers on Instagram and 730,000 followers on Facebook.
That's
Yeah.
Jeez.
And see, I would have said the same thing. I would just, having never looked, I would have said the same thing. NHRA is 289,000, so almost double. Maybe double. I'm terrible at math. I'll admit it. And 1.2 million
On Facebook.
on Facebook.
Do you think that's because NHRA has a grassroots racing program?
I think that that's part of it. So NHRA, like, I've held an NHRA license. You know, anybody can get one.
Yeah.
To race an IndyCar proper, it's not
different
It's
deal.
not a thing. So I suppose when you step back and think about it that way, they have a larger draw because more people can be involved in it.
Yep.
But it's interesting to me that they're almost double, because I would have thought. The other thing is that, excuse me, that I think maybe I'm a little off base here, but I think if you looked at the average age of the user, Facebook is significantly higher than Instagram.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And I think that in HRA especially, but IndyCar as well, are both older demographic type of racing. Probably.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They're not hip, fun, trendy,
Yeah.
right? Both of them are significantly larger on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
But then you go to, so like Formula Drift.
Yes.
Would you say that that's the opposite?
I would say for Formula Drift that their Instagram, I don't know if I'd say it's the opposite. I'd probably say that the disparity between the two is a lot closer, but the Instagram is still less.
So it's interesting to me. Number one, Instagram is a significant smaller number,
Okay.
but their Instagram is bigger. Their Instagram and their Facebook are both bigger than either of IndyCar or NHRA. They're 711,000 and 2.2 million.
Which doesn't make any sense when you're watching Formula Drift live
Right,
streams.
exactly.
Where the hell are the 2 million people?
2.2 million people follow, almost 3 million people total between the two social medias, and they got nobody watching what they're doing
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
as a live stream.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, especially on Instagram, it's interesting to look at. It's cool to see as you're flipping through.
Yeah, and videos are fun. All the drift videos are fun to watch.
Drift videos are fun to watch. Car pictures of them, putting smoke out and crashing into each other. It's fun to watch. But unless you're die hard into it, it's probably not as good of a spectator sport. Because if you don't know what's going on, you don't know who just won or who just lost. And when they tell you, you don't probably know why.
Yeah.
So you either have to be into it, or else you're going to lose interest in it eventually, because it's hard to follow. Even if you like seeing the smoke and the burnouts and the stuff like that, it's going to lose interest quicker than something where I can definitively say he or she won versus not.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yep.
So I think that's part of why there's fewer people watching it live.
True. And there's a lot of downtime because there's a ton of changeovers and like 5-minute timeouts and just
And
what, you do
30 seconds to a minute in a run?
Yeah, you do the top 32 and then you take a break and you do the top 16 and then you got Formula, or you got Pro 2 and Pro 1, and then they've got promotional breaks that they're doing on the grounds, and they bring out demo cars and do stuff and giving away stuff, and so yeah, it's a little hard to watch online for that reason.
So let's throw some quote unquote top tier racing in here. NASCAR and Formula One.
Yep.
Formula One, probably because of its worldwide appeal, absolutely dominates.
Okay.
3.9 million on both.
Okay.
It's the biggest I've got out of anybody so far on either, but it's not the biggest I have on my list, but it is the biggest racing body, which is interesting.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my place here. NASCAR, 700, basically 800,000 people on Instagram and 5.1 million people on Facebook.
Wow, that's pretty big.
So they're doing well on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're doing
Yes.
very well.
But that would make sense because probably their target, like if they had a target
Right, their
individual, it's
target
probably a
demographic is
40-year-old
older.
man,
Yep.
male, Midwest, blah, 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 whatever.
That's what I'm thinking too. More of their demographic is on Facebook than it is on Instagram. So that it probably makes sense.
Yep.
But then like Dale Jr., who everybody knows, he's a household name of racers. He is retired now, but he's still a household name. 600,000 people on Instagram, which really isn't that many.
That's surprisingly small for him.
Right. But he has 3 million on Facebook.
I was expecting more.
That, to me, is a sign of his demographic as well.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, Ken Block,
Yes.
the
40
man,
40 million.
40
the man,
million.
the machine, right?
The marketing machine himself.
Yeah, the greatest single advertising campaign in the world.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
Ken Block. He has 6 million followers on Facebook and 3.9 million followers on Instagram.
He's bigger than NASCAR, though.
He's
that's what you're
bigger.
saying.
He's bigger than NASCAR and Formula One.
Which is interesting because they're both sponsored by Monster.
He's bigger than NHRA and IndyCar and Formula Drift combined
Wow.
by himself.
Yeah, that's very
I should
interesting.
have. Now that I think about this, I should have looked up WRC, or not WRC, but World Rally. World Rallycross. WRC. That is what it is.
Yep. Robbie will
Yeah.
look it up real quick.
I'll see if it'll show up.
I just wondered,
Facebook's
just
weird.
out of curiosity, like how big
No,
are
I see
they?
it. WRX.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we're looking for.
Facebook's so
Sorry, guys.
difficult.
Let me
I'm
try
not-
to find
because
Let me try
that's
to
what
find
he
it.
actively competes in.
Yeah.
So like, because I bet you, because they're fairly new, they probably don't have a huge following because they're a relatively new racing series.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
so I kind of wonder how big they are.
489. 489.
489,000 on Facebook?
Yep.
Okay. So
Instagram would be hard right now because we're on our computers.
yeah, now that we're talking about them anyway, another racing group that's probably very similar to them, Stadium Super Trucks.
Hell yeah.
Can you imagine a more social media friendly racing
Absolutely.
than Stadium Super Trucks?
No, I cannot.
Again, relatively new, but they do have international followings
Yes.
because they do have races in Australia. And apparently, they race in China.
Yep.
Didn't know that. But 76,000 and 84,000 Instagram and Facebook.
That's not many.
It's not that many. I expected it to be more.
Wait a second. What'd you say?
76,000 on Instagram and 84,000 on Facebook.
I have 848,000. I have
Missed a number.
848,000 on
By the way, I think
on the
your
Facebook.
your WRC has 2.5 million on Facebook.
Does it really?
Yeah, I don't know what you got.
Yeah, that was weird.
Welcome to Facebook.
Yeah, we were trying to find SCCA earlier and we couldn't
so
find it.
I tried finding SDC on my phone because I wanted their numbers, and theirs was a little bit disappointing, honestly. But
FIA
couldn't
World
find it.
Rallycross Championship.
Yeah, Stadium Superchargers. I got 8.5 million.
yeah, I probably
Or
mistyped it.
850,000.
So I mistyped it.
Yeah,
Is all.
fat fingered it.
Shit happens.
That's all good.
But yeah, can you? I think in time that number will continue to grow because they,
Yeah,
especially on social media. Can you imagine a more friendly to that idea?
I'd rather watch,
Racing.
like, I mean, you see advertisements for like Monster Truck, Monster Jam, and stuff like that. So you get all the kids like, oh, we got to see the monster trucks. This is way more exciting than
It's
that.
way cooler.
Right.
Absolutely. Just that picture right there you have on the YouTube channel right now.
isn't that crazy?
He's like 3 trucks in the air.
I would rather watch SST than WRC.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Why isn't this? Why this should be on NBC Sports at like
All the
Saturday
time.
at noon?
So
Yeah.
Why would
Primetime
people
Saturdays.
would watch that shit? What NFL? I don't even know what that is. Why would people watch
So they
that?
Only
used-
40 million people watched it.
they used to lead up. They would be like the opening race for an IndyCar weekend. Now they close it out because they figured out that people stay there longer, later, and buy more beer.
Hell yeah!
Smart.
Why wouldn't you get drunk and watch this?
So
It's great marketing.
they're racing with NASCAR this year at Road America.
Awesome. Good
So-
for them. Yeah, that's that
Before they
number
were
will
just
jump.
with Indy, and they were at Long Beach and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But now they're going to race there too.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, it's cool.
can you SST and NASCAR? Those go together like peaches
That's a weekend.
and cream,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't get any better than that.
That's definitely a weekend.
Yeah.
Certainly their demographic. There's a lot of cross pollination there.
Well, I think it kind of shows too that people care more about personalities than they do sanctioning bodies and stuff. Because, like, you'll see Lewis Hamilton has 12 million people following on Instagram. Or something
Actually,
crazy.
I got him right
How much
here.
is it?
He's the only thing I looked up that actually had more Instagram followers than Facebook followers. 5.8 million on
Yeah.
on Instagram, 4.1 on Facebook.
Yeah, he's very active on his Instagram.
I figured that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't look through any of these pages. I just okay, here's my numbers. Moving
yeah.
on. So I also, out of curiosity, I got how many people, because Facebook shows you how many people you're friends with that follow these pages.
Yeah, yeah.
So IndyCar only have 7 people, which isn't that many. But then Ken Block, 40.
Yeah, because even people that aren't into racing
Yeah.
are following him.
So the SCCA, 41, which I think mostly just shows my
Yeah, your friend
friend
group.
list. That's the largest number of people I have in common, but they have one of the smallest followings at 67,000.
Which now that we've talked about all these other groups, seems really small.
It is,
It's incredibly small.
but that kind of makes sense because SCCA is grassroots. They're not what they were 20 years ago, where they have pro level racing that's being televised and big money coming into it. It's just
People that are involved in
it's
it.
just a bunch of us racing.
Yeah, you're not
exactly.
going to follow SCCA unless you're doing it.
Unless you are a
Really?
part of it.
You're following it for news
Right.
updates. Yep, absolutely.
So, I don't know. Ryan Turek doesn't even have a million on either, which I really expected him to. For some reason, he's got $500,000 on basically on both. I expected him to have more. That's pretty much it. A couple of the ones I was really surprised by. I was surprised that IndyCar isn't in the millions. I thought
That's
for
very-
sure
that's very surprising.
that they would be, given their reach, especially with the Indy 500
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And IndyCar's kind of been in a downswing for a long time, and I think that that's representative here. So
Yeah, I'd agree.
that's about it. I don't know. Grid Life, it's got 70,000 followers on Facebook and only 37 on Instagram. I figured they'd be bigger than that.
Their Instagram game is strong.
Right. Figured they'd be bigger than that.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, they're bigger than the SCCA on both. So
Yeah.
they're not. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the new thing to throw in there would be YouTube, because now people just use YouTube like a social media site. So, people like Ryan Turek, he has 65,000 subscribers, but I think most of his stuff goes through Donut Media now. And I was
Yeah.
just looking, Donut Media has
They have 1 million followers on their Facebook page. Mill plus.
Really?
463, so
On mute.
460,000 subscribers. And they're relatively new. I mean,
They are.
air quotes, relatively new.
They were at the first Grid Life we went to, what would be 2 years ago now, but they were like fresh out the box at that point.
Yep.
Still trying to figure out what it was they were.
Right, yeah. And I don't even really know what they are exactly. They joined YouTube in July 2015.
Yeah.
I think that I think they're just a social marketing or a social media group. They just make content, and I'm guessing that somebody gave them a bunch of money and said, "Go make content until we get big enough that we can start bringing money in instead."
Yeah. And I don't know if Ryan Turek owns part of it, because he's not done any updates on his channel for a year. It's all gone through Donut Media, so I don't know if he's got a part in it. If
His Ferrari
I think-
build was all there.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's Forsberg's kind of got his own thing, so I really don't know. I don't know what it is. It's kind of interesting. Like, have you seen any shots of their office? They have a fucking sick office, like a really
kinda like
huge.
I mean, I don't follow it anymore at all, but it's kind of like the Chive, I'm sure.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
parties
kind
all
of
the time.
Yeah, it's
Ridiculous
parties.
place.
Well, I mean,
Like,
not
how
parties.
how does anything get done there?
Right, exactly. And it's, they seem big time. They are big time, I guess. But yeah, they came out of nowhere, to just absorb all these different drifters and racers, social media and
Yeah.
be posting videos to. Wait, was that that wasn't Paco? Who was that? It was one of the guys from Formula Drift. Or not Formula Drift,
I'm
sorry,
gonna-
from Maximum Driftcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out
Well,
and say this. I don't really like most of their stuff.
Donut Media?
Yeah.
That thing that he does,
Where
is
he
it
talks
Fresh
about the
Baked
history
or
of
whatever it's
cars?
called or something like that. Hate that thing.
I know.
It's
I do
really
too.
obnoxious.
So
he
last
just
week-
screams at the camera.
Last week I made a post on our Facebook group asking people for YouTube
Suggestions for video.
suggestions because
Yeah.
I wanted some more content, and one of them was Donut Media, and I have no interest in watching them. The other one that came up more than once that I'm going to really trigger some people here. Regular car reviews is fucking terrible.
I've never seen it.
So bad.
Maybe I have. I just don't
He's
remember.
not. I don't know what it is. Something just rubs me the wrong way about him.
Is it the way he talks or the way he
Yes,
approaches things?
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Because
that's what
I
it
can't
is.
watch it either.
Yeah, I figured you were in the same boat
Yeah.
there.
I only watch. Usually, all I watch is Motor Trend, which now I'm questioning that because they've brought on all of the Discovery Channel
Yeah, I was
things.
really, really pissed off when I
you see
opened my
that?
Motor Trend
No.
on Demand
I don't
app.
watch any of that.
So now they bought all of
They're-
the Discovery Channel
I think
car
it's
shows.
the other
Like
way
the-
around. I think
No, I think they have the rights to show that stuff.
I thought that
Like Discovery, like the
people-
old stuff, or
like 10, the Enthusiast Network.
Yeah.
All of those TV shows, Street Outlaws, Fast
Yeah.
and Loud, all those terrible TV shows that we don't like fall under that umbrella. And now so does Motor Trend and Roadkill and Hot Rod Garage and all that stuff. So when you open the Motor Trend on Demand app, guess what you fucking see?
Street Outlaw.
Richard Rollins.
Is that
Yeah.
Richard Rollins' stupid face.
Great.
So, anyway, And Mike Musto or whatever his name was. Not that I really liked his channel, but he got booted as a result of that because
I didn't mind what he was doing as far as like, you know, talking about a car, because that formula's kind of been beat into the ground, but he did pretty good at it because he was finding interesting cars that nobody else was talking about. Because when you go and find those, they're never muscle cars.
as far as on social media and on YouTube and stuff like that.
If you go
that
to
type of
YouTube
video.
and watch, you know, like Matt Farah or Petrolicious style car reviews,
Yeah.
they're never muscle cars.
No.
No.
And his were. And
Yeah.
I kind of liked some of them.
And he was only able to do it for like a year, and then he got booted. And, well, he was doing it under a different network, and then that whole thing got broken up with Chris Harris.
He was
and-
originally part of Drive.
That's right, The Drive, with Chris Harris when he was there. Then he left there and went to Motor Trend On Demand, and now he's been kicked off there.
Has he been booted, or has he just not been?
My understanding is that he's not on the subscription channel. I think you can still find him on YouTube.
His videos, last I looked, I guess, were still on Motor Trend On Demand.
So hopefully,
But he has not put any new ones up in quite a while.
maybe that was their point, was that they're not going to produce any new videos for Motor Trend On
I
Demand.
wonder if that modified show got a refresh, got a second
Yeah, I don't know.
season. Did you watch any of that?
Nope.
It wasn't.
Mighty Car Mods is all I watch.
It wasn't the greatest.
And Engine Masters.
I fucking love Engine Masters.
Engine Masters is great.
I literally watched nothing.
Dude,
Bro.
you should watch. You'd be fascinated by Engine Masters.
Engine Masters
There's
was
like
taught
Sure.
there's a
directly-
lot of stuff that is in no way, shape, or form applicable to you.
Yeah.
Still fascinating.
See, I'll watch Petrolicious and like random obscure car culture stuff. So like today I went on the really weird. Well, it's not weird because was it
Emmanuel.
Manuel? He posted that Japanese car culture thing, and then I went down this crazy rabbit hole where I actually watched actually a half hour worth of YouTube for the first time in many months.
Yeah.
I almost don't use Netflix that much anymore.
But yeah, I do.
Because the small amount of time that I actually get to watch something, I watch something
Trying
on
to
Motor
catch
Trend. Yeah, and Mighty Car Mods, and then some of the watch stuff that I look at, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you should check it out, though. Seriously,
I'm-
Engine Masters
I'm-
is right
it's
up your
cool.
alley.
It's cool.
It's all about old school tuning.
All right.
They'll just take ideas and
See, gas
put
versus
them on
E85.
dynos and see which one works better.
Oh yeah.
Racing gas versus E85.
They did stuff like even cooling fans, which was real interesting. There was a surprising amount of loss through some of those.
Oh, I'm sure.
Or air filter designs. That was interesting too.
Yeah. No, my engineering mind would enjoy this. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's cool. And they do it very well. They do they're pretty good about having control and result, you know,
Yeah.
and trying to keep things as on a level
Fair as
equal
possible.
play. I mean, it's in a dyno cell. It's in a room. You know, it's a motor that they're working with stuff that is known.
Right.
So, it's interesting.
I'm down.
Anyway, is that it?
Yeah,
For
I just wanted to
marketing
talk
opener?
I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I
Speaking
wasn't
of
sure where
marketing-
it would go. So
Go to factorfabrication.com. Check out all the rad stuff that Booney can do. Commercial and residential stuff. He's got some products on there that he can ship to you. As we said before, he's a fantastic fabricator, and he's a good dude. So
He is a good dude.
he is a very good dude. He bought us brunch, whether some of us liked it or not.
Loved it.
It was fantastic.
I enjoyed the company.
And he let me borrow 2 books.
He did. He did bring you some books to read.
Yeah.
What did he bring you?
I can't remember what they're called. One's about the new Ford GT, and then the other one's about like Niki Lauda and James Hunt and the 1976 Formula One.
And then you gave him Go Like Hell, I
Yeah.
think. Yep.
I haven't even started those books yet. I got too many other books I'm trying to finish.
I hear you. It's only so much time.
Sorry, Bunny, you'll get it back.
Get it back someday.
I promise.
Maybe.
No, he will for sure. I'm not that guy.
Anyway, factorfabrication.com. Check out his Instagram, too. There's some pretty rad stuff on there. You can see all the stuff that they make over there. Pretty cool stuff.
I had one other thing I want to talk about really briefly.
Yes.
That literally came up as I was driving here.
Okay.
Something that's going to make Robbie sad.
Okay.
Lots of things make me sad.
So, friend of the show and my favorite coworker, Bob Berg, texted me on the way here and said, "Just saw the Jurassic Park Explorer in the ditch on 2nd.
Damn it! That's too bad.
R.I.P. Jurassic Park Explorer."
Oh, it's not R.I.P. It'll be fine.
It might be. You don't know. Hey,
It's been pretty gnarly out there.
let's
lately.
look at it. Let's look at it
brutal.
from a positive perspective. Maybe it'll go to police auction,
And I could buy it.
and
for
Robbie could
pennies.
buy it. There you go, Robbie. Yeah, you can buy it for like $30.
It's probably
Awesome.
probably be an all right tow vehicle.
No.
Can't
Why
tell
not?
with an Explorer.
No,
Are you
you
a
can't.
madman?
Why not?
Those exploders just for no reason at all.
Robbie latches onto these automotive things and just doesn't let them go, does he?
Well, you still can't tow with an Explorer though.
Can you not?
No.
I thought that they were
not a
You
car.
could, yeah, like a motorcycle maybe.
You could
figured
definitely
you
could
could
tow
tow a car.
a boat.
a scooter.
What, you could put
scooter?
the 240 on a dolly.
Yeah, there you go. Just
No.
tow the 240 backwards. Lock the steering wheel. Tow the
Just put it
240
in
backwards
neutral.
on a
You
dolly.
just need to put it in neutral. It'll be fine.
No,
Bro, you don't even care about your running gear. Who cares?
Yeah,
Your
totally.
synchros are done anyway.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just,
We'll just,
you know, just
we'll just light it on fire and call it a day. Fuck.
there are some days when that feels like an appropriate solution.
You mean every Saturday lately?
Robbie in his shop.
Fucking putting holes in my wall, holes in my fingers.
Yeah, you
I
had,
wonder what vinyl smells like when it's on fire.
I could tell you. My stove knows.
Robbie's had some good days working on his car. It looks good if that helps.
Yeah, from a distance.
On pictures.
Pay attention to our YouTube channel. I'm sure some funny videos are coming up. Foreshadowing.
Robbie fails.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
At least one of them.
At least one. That's okay. We all fail sometimes,
Like
Robbie.
I said, like even in the intro, like this isn't out yet, but even in the intro, I'm just like, we'll see how this works. It might not. It was my,
And
it was my
who-
own demise.
Who do you know that posts fail videos though? Like this didn't work.
That's what we should
I
do.
mean, that's
how it
nobody.
should be.
No, it is. It's like, oh yeah, we just
all
put it
worked.
in there and it worked. Hooked it up, bam, fired right up.
It's like
Nobody does that.
overhauling.
Yeah, we built this
We
whole
built this
car
car in 72
4
hours,
days.
and it fired. A carbureted engine fired
First
the first try.
Not
Bullshit.
Not buying it.
Bullshit.
All the antifreeze went straight into the engine. No air bubbles.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Bullshit.
Isn't it?
I've spent 6 hours trying to get antifreeze into a motor.
Seems like a simple task.
It's not.
Sometimes it's not.
It's challenging.
Yes, it was a free radiator, but that's not the point. Don't bring that up right now. So anyway, yeah, we'll.
Much more to come on our YouTube channel.
Yes,
To be fair, overhauling was using free radiators too.
sure, they were new, but yeah.
But they were free.
To them, yeah.
Anyway, check out the YouTube channel for sure. We got some more content regarding car builds and stuff like that coming out there in addition to the weekly show. But let's move on to our topic for this week. So, in continuing with Adam's opener, we've got car advertisements. So, what we did is we took some cars that are currently in production or were in production, and we are putting our own spin on the advertising in order to improve it.
Yeah, things we would have done differently to make them a success is kind of how I interpret it.
Right.
I'm
Yes.
not sure if
Cars
that's
that
what
we
you meant.
thought were probably better than the world thinks they are because it was poorly advertised.
Or,
Us-
yeah.
Cars like the SS, the Chevy. We've talked about this many times. I'm pretty sure because we've done it that neither one of you picked it.
I almost did.
Yeah,
I didn't,
right.
though.
So,
But it was poorly advertised.
Yes?
foreshadowing, I started mine with the best intentions, and it kind of went
And then it
downhill
top
from there.
geared.
Yeah, I full blown top geared 90% of mine. It was I really did have good intentions of making good advertisements, and they went poor. Now for mine, what I did is I actually was like, okay, what I'll do is you open up your Motor Trend or your Car and Driver or whatever, and bam, you got an ad. You got a picture of a car. It's all blurry in the background doing stuff, and then there's text. They say such and such whatever. It could say Alfa Romeo Giulia Car of the Year, blah blah blah, whatever. That was the basis of the idea for mine, and then it all went to hell in a handbasket from there. So we'll have the pictures. We'll have pictures on the YouTube channel, and then we'll post some stuff on social media and whatnot. But we'll try to explain it as we go too.
I just want to know how much Alpha had to pay to get Car of the Year with that Julia, but that's neither here nor there.
All of the monies.
Let's start with you, Michael.
Should we start with me?
Please.
Robbie's going to bring up my folder.
I'm excited for this.
So I want to see what he pulls up first here. So again, started out good. Well, don't pull that one up, Robbie.
said don't put-
don't pull that one. Pull up one of the other two that were in that first folder. There we go. So I started with, I like a Hyundai as much as
Yes.
more than the next guy probably.
Yes. I picked a similar product.
I
I'm
like
with you.
both Genesises, so I did one for Genesises.
Genesi?
So I did
It's
one.
Genocide for sure.
I did one for both Genocide. So the first one was the sedan. And basically, it's a picture of the sedan like I talked about. It's going by. It looks like maybe it's in Chicago or something. The businessman driving it. And then it said, what's the harm in letting people think it's a Mercedes? The new 2014 Hyundai Genesis sedan. Because most people look at that car and tell me, a layperson, the random person in your office, if you told them that was a Mercedes, they go, yeah, okay.
I'm not sure that I'd lead
Yeah,
with that, though.
It's a Daewoo.
They probably won't believe it, but you could probably trick them into thinking it's a Mercedes. If they said, "Is this a Mercedes?" you could go, "Yeah."
But why would you encourage that in your advertising?
Well, that's why I said I had good
that's-
intentions.
that's
I had good intent. I sat down on Saturday. I was like, I'm going to make some ads that people could sell some shit with, and then it just went downhill from there. And trust me, we're at the top right now. Okay.
So, okay, for a second, I thought this was a real ad that you would
Well,
pull.
you could put this out.
No, this is his. This,
You could put
he
that
made
out.
These.
Oh no! I made this.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've-
the
yeah.
So I
The
thought
text
that-
is like we put text on where we could.
I thought that was legitimately.
Oh, no,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
I
He
made
pulled
this.
out a
I made
motor
this.
trade.
But this is it's a selling point, right? You could go in and it's much cheaper than a Mercedes, and your coworkers won't know any different. You know those people that
Oh, absolutely. I'm
corporate
100%
America
with you.
moving up the ladder thing.
Yeah.
You just it's a Mercedes, you know.
Absolutely.
So that was
You just have to dress fancy. You don't have to
Yeah.
spend a lot of money to look like you're dressing
Yeah.
fancy.
You go to
Same
Kohl's
with
and
your
get some
car.
stuff on sale.
You can be savvy.
you could
still
get
look
stuff off
nice.
the back rack, the clearance.
Yeah.
Heck yeah,
That's
you
what
still
I'm
look
saying.
good.
And then
Get
you
up-
get a Genesis.
Get up 15 minutes earlier. Make sure your hair is looking good every day.
Just cut it real short.
Drive a Genesis.
Yeah, get a Mercedes.
People just assume you're successful.
it's big. It's a big black sedan thing, and they're
It'll
like
barely
yeah.
fit in the parking garage. It's exactly what you
They'll
want.
be like, "Oh, Jim's doing well for himself. He got a Mercedes." You're not gonna say like, "Oh no, it's not. It's
Nah,
not."
no, it's a Lincoln.
You're just-
It's a Lincoln.
Just gonna let him go.
Do you debadge it or you just roll with it?
Oh,
Well,
you should totally
it doesn't
debadge
say Hyundai anywhere on that car.
It doesn't say it on the
Nope.
back. It just says Genesis, doesn't it?
Yeah, boy.
Smart.
See,
Think about that.
Smart.
marketing. See, they
Didn't
should
think
have
about that.
thought about that when they did. Okay,
like where your head's
Robbie,
at.
let's do the
I
other
actually-
Genesis.
I approve of this one.
So this is the red. This would be the coupe,
The coupe.
the coupe, and it's on a racetrack. And in this case, it says
Where it belongs.
We heard y'all wanted a turbo BRZ, the Hyundai Genesis coupe or coupe for this market.
No, they
Let's
absolutely.
cut to the point here, people. Everybody's bitching. Everybody wants a turbo BRZ, and there's one right here. And it's cheaper.
Yeah, they should have.
They could have run
hard.
that. If they had run that,
Yes.
people
This
would have
is-
bought it.
This is one of the cars that when I think of automotive marketing failure, this
without a doubt.
and the Chevy SS are the two cars that instantly jump to my mind.
So I spent some time thinking about why nobody bought this car, and I couldn't really come up with a really good reason.
It's not a bad looking car.
No,
No,
It was a reasonably priced car.
it's got decent power.
They came in,
I mean, good-
in
made good
multiple
power.
platforms,
Good
and they
power.
all made decent power considering.
Yep.
Rear wheel drive,
cheaper than anything else
sporty,
available.
Could get them with manuals. What do you want in life?
V8s fit right in them.
V8's fitting them great. Sicky's got you covered for that.
Heck
You
yeah.
want to throw a V8 in there?
Damn it!
Yeah, I don't.
They
I don't.
do.
I know, but we had to go there, didn't we?
Always.
That's all right.
It's our bread and butter.
If Sicky wasn't trolling me with the kit on Instagram,
yeah.
then we wouldn't have to talk about
Were
it.
they trolling you directly, or
Yeah, no, I think he started it, and then Sicky started trolling me.
Yeah, a little bit.
I love it.
Anyway,
that makes me
Poured a
super
little
happy.
gas on that fire.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but so I mean, it's to the point. I would,
Yeah, you're foolish for not.
it's probably
jumping
worth
on
the
that.
lawsuit. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Or at least
Bad-
a cease and desist.
Bad
Yeah.
publicity is still good publicity,
Exactly.
right? A
That-
lawsuit probably would have sold you some cars.
Guerrilla marketing, yeah, because then Jalopnik would have been like blah 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 blah, you know.
yeah.
So
They're like, you know what? They're not wrong about that. Let me look these up.
Yep.
yep, absolutely. So my next one was the no, not that one. Yep. So it's the Mitsubishi Mirage, and I really struggled. I really struggled with this because for some reason I felt compelled to do.
I just went with cars I would actually consider buying. That's
I
not
was
one of them.
compelled to try to sell this car, and so my ad says $19.99 looks, $19.99 pricing. The 2015 Mitsubishi Mirage.
Brilliant. Genius.
Some people are like into previous decades, right? You like the 80s.
Yeah, I love the
Some
80s.
people like the 90s.
Robbie loves the 90s.
So I'm just saying, it looks like a 90s car. Let's just go with the 90s thing.
Robbie, why don't you own a Mirage?
I can't find
Because
them.
look at it.
Where are you going to get this car?
The problem is you can't get any used.
Are you kidding? Are you
'Cause
kidding?
nobody bought one.
No, because they're sitting at the dealership, still
can't-
brand
You
new.
can.
I
This
can't
is
find
a
one.
relevant
There's
ad
a-
now. The
there's a-
2015 is still. You can still get that.
New.
There's a Mitsubishi dealer. I heard a advertisement on the radio today that They were advertising new 2017s. They're still they're ready to deal. Robbie.
Oh, yeah.
They told me
You can
so
get
on their
yourself
radio.
a
ad.
2014 Mirage.
They have the what's it called where you walk in and if you're breathing you get a loan. They have that.
If you buy 2 Lancers, 2 2015 Evos, they'll give you a Mirage.
I'm sure
Oh.
they will.
You know what I was disappointed about? I went back on their website. They took the Evo off. The 2017 Lancer's still on there, but the 2015 Evo is not on there anymore.
Does that mean they finally sold out their stock?
I think they got rid of all of them and
Well, so
they got some money together and they paid a guy to update the website.
They're so screwed.
they're still on a dealer lot somewhere, or else we would have read a Jalopnik article about the last Evo being sold.
Probably. So anyway, I tried.
No, that's
I made an attempt.
That's a good one. That's a front runner right
But
now.
the problem with this is, like truth in advertising, right? You know, you're supposed to,
Right, yeah. It's one of the things we harp on.
It costs as much as a Spark. It's the exact same price as a Spark, and the Spark's a terrible car.
But
And I think somebody tried to argue with me that it wasn't. It just is.
but when you put those
And this-
next to each other,
Yeah, I choose the Spark for sure.
yeah.
I'm not gonna. If somebody's like, you could have a GM product or you could have a Mitsubishi, I'm gonna take the GM product.
Every time.
And it's not. You could be like Ford, Mitsubishi. I'm taking the Ford. It doesn't really matter what it is. Unless
Is there
it's,
anything? That's not a company anymore, is it?
you can't get them here.
Who knows?
Can you get Suzuki's here anymore?
No.
Do they still make a Kazashi or whatever it was called?
A Kishkosh or whatever.
I think it was
Kumquat.
Kazashi.
Cappuccino?
You know what?
No,
you know-
that's an actually a car.
I know.
We just can't get it here.
that's Daewoo, isn't it?
No,
Did
that's
they make
Suzuki.
it?
Cappuccino? That
Oh,
was
it's Suzuki Cappuccino.
Yeah,
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you take that over a Prius?
Ooh.
I don't think that I would. No. As much as I hate the Prius,
It's a
and
Toyota.
a styling disaster. It
If I could-
looks better than that.
If I get
does.
to choose my style of Prius, I would take the
if I have to
Prius.
drive something terrible, I want to get good fuel economy. That's all I'm
At
saying.
least make it practical.
Like if
right?
if give me pros and con list, I could look at it from that direction. If everything's in the con category, at least move one thing over for me, and I want that to be fuel
This has to
economy.
get decent mileage.
but probably not the same as a
But not
Prius.
Prius mileage.
Well, think about this.
Or else it
But it's
probably
also a
would've
third of the price of a Prius. Or a fourth.
it's probably half. It's probably
At
half.
least
the price.
half.
Well, yeah, with deals, it might be a
third.
sixth of the price. Yeah. I bet if you went in there and said,
I'll
"Take
take
me
one.
your best deal on a Mirage," they'd say, "What?" And then they go, "Oh, a car," and then they'd be like, "Hold on, sir. Let me
That's
try.
right,
to,
we sell
let me
those.
try to find the paperwork.
Can you fog this mirror? All right, it's yours.
We'll figure it out later. Just take it and don't come back, please."
If it makes it out of the parking lot, it's yours to keep.
Can
You know what?
imagine-
You'd get a fucking Christmas card from those people every year if you bought one. You'd be the best customer.
Even
ever.
after they go out of business, the sales guy will still send you a Christmas card.
Fucking guy bought him a Mirage.
Anyway, my point was, if you go in there, they would probably give you a stupid deal on one, like like a deal you couldn't touch anywhere else. So that and
Any
that may
Mitsubishi.
be truth in advertising. $19.99 looks, $19.99 pricing.
That makes me really happy. I don't know why, but that is
There's-
that is internet gold.
I tried.
I love it.
So anyway, from here it went further downhill. So we started with the Chevy Corvette. Here it's the ZR one. And it says V8s, period. They're just better. And then it says VIR, the VIR lap time, 2:37. The all-new Chevrolet Corvette ZR1.
This isn't
That's awesome.
pointed at any particular
It's not
person,
pointed at any
right?
particular
No.
person.
No.
Neither is the next one. Robbie, if you'd like to go to that, it's the Chevy Corvette again. And it says, "We promise not to sue you if you sell it. The all-new Chevrolet Corvette ZR1."
What's that about biting the hand that feeds?
It's totally worth it.
And you would think at this point I'd have a good sense to stop. But if you go to the next slide, Robbie, it says, it's the Chevy Corvette, and it says, for the driver more worried about his lap times than his Instagram algorithms,
And the new Corvette.
it's a new Corvette ZR1.
Sorry, Booney.
Anyway.
Those are great advertisements, by the way. I want one. I want one bad.
Yeah, I know. I want a Corvette, and I might even want a Mirage. Who knows?
You could probably get both.
Oh, how do we change gears from here? How do we go? Who's next?
I don't know. Do you want me to
We
go?
should have made him go last.
know.
Let's start the show over.
Yeah, we're hitting a high point, and this is where the show just goes downhill, guys.
Just fast forward to the news.
Yep, sorry.
Robbie, I guess I'm nominating you to go next.
All right, I sat down and I was very serious. I'm like, I'm having some good advertisements. I'm clever. I'm not clever.
I'm not clever either, Robbie.
I'm too analytical.
I just made a campaign. Like, I was
I did that
legitimately
too.
serious about
I
this.
thought about it a little bit. But if someone would have just showed up to me, like if they want to advertise a car to me, show up to me with like testing price and points and be like, hey, see how this car compares to this car?
What
And
do you
it
do
could
for
be
a living again,
It could
Robbie?
be a piece of, yeah, I'm an engineer. It could be a piece of paper and all it has to say is test results. And that's what's going to sell me a car, not some fucking advertisement. But anyways, so we're going to go on that rant first. This is my favorite commercial from the Super Bowl. And it's Jeep.
Okay.
And it's a Jeep Wrangler. And it's literally just a Jeep Wrangler narrated to no music driving through the mud. And it drives through a riverbed, then it crawls up some rocks, then it crawls up some more rocks, and then it's just like the narrator talking about how we don't need some gimmicky bullshit to tell you that the Wrangler is the most versatile Wrangler we've ever fucking had. I'm like,
If they use fuck, I'm buying one.
If they could have said that exact same thing and just bleeped it for primetime,
done.
I'd go in
It's
there.
a 40-second ad, and it tells you everything you need to know that the new Jeep Wrangler is a nice Wrangler.
One thing
But-
I've noticed about swearing, if you bleep it, you did it
funnier.
because it's funny. If you just silence it, it's because you're serious.
Yeah, you want the bleep. It's way
Bleeping
better.
is funny. Like in
Bleep's
Robbie's
funny.
video
Right.
when he swore in his video, it was
You
funny.
bleep, and then you just
I was gonna
laugh.
just leave it, but it was way better.
It's
with
like
the
those
bleep.
ridiculous movies where or videos on YouTube you'll see where someone just inserts bleeps into like movies.
Regular conversations.
They're great. I love them.
Yep. But anyways, but it just shows that to me this one speaks like this is a much more important advertisement to me because it tells me something about the vehicle. It has 2.7 million views on the Jeep's official Instagram or YouTube channel.
And this was their Super Bowl.
This
ad.
is one of their Super Bowl ads. Their other Super Bowl ad has it's like Jeff Goldblum in a Jeep Wrangler running from a CGI T-Rex. Doesn't tell you jack about the car. 11 million views as of Wednesday. It's been up for 24 hours.
Wow.
Or
Holy
it's
shit.
10.8. But that just shows no one cares about the like being educated
Right.
about the car. They want to be entertained.
Right.
And that's why I fail at this because I don't want to entertain you. I want to tell you this car's the best. And here's the facts. I'm not going to entertain
This is
you.
why it's the best.
Yeah. So that jumped out to me as I'm terrible at this. This is why I'm not in marketing.
That's
'cause
fine.
I couldn't get views.
Maybe you should be though.
Maybe. But anyways.
They just need a little Robbie.
Yeah. Anyways. But we'll start this off. Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Come
I
on.
screwed it up. I'm looking up
It's okay.
yours, not mine.
It's all right. So while Robbie's pulling up some
But I
pictures
kind of
here.
ruined
There
it,
we go.
or you kind of ruined it for me because your Corvette beat my Viper. But I picked the 27 is it 16 or 17?
17.
Whatever. The Viper ACR, and then it's got the list of all the track records that it broke, and it's got check marks next to them. This is your small advertising campaign. But if they really wanted to do this, they should have done what they did with the Demon. You know, they built it up for like 9 months, and they had these stupid videos that came out. It was like, oh, here's a seat we're going to throw away, but you can buy it for $1. And, you know, just stupid stuff. And they spent so much money on that. But if they would have made like a advertisement campaign or like a video series where they literally went out, called their shot and said, we're going to these 13 tracks. We're going to be the fastest effing car that's ever been on this track. And then they just start checking off lists. And like by the time they're done, 13 track records. You want the fastest track car available right now? This is it.
Well, so if I remember right, not only did they beat those laps, but they went out and beat the previous lap record no less than 3 laps.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it was,
they wanted to make sure it wasn't a fluke. That we didn't just crack off a 10th faster by accident and we can't repeat it. They wanted it a repeatable car.
right. Well,
And then they did it quietly and didn't tell anybody until they were done.
and that's where they failed because
Right.
they waited until it was over, and then instead of having this whole advertising campaign around it, telling people to buy this track car, because that's what it is. It's not a street car; it's a track car, really. And they just need to be advertising that, and then they should have called it and had a whole channel on it. And then where was I going with this? But yeah, so just basically call your shot and be cocky about it and make a lot of noise. Instead of having Road and Track just write a 3-page article about it and then have it be over and be like, oh, by the way, this car's discontinued.
Because nobody buys, or even people who bought that car but never intended on tracking it, would have bragged about the fact that it's faster than yours.
Absolutely. If they would have came out with this at the beginning of whatever 2016, 2017, and then started advertising, I highly doubt they would have discontinued it at the end of the year. Because this came out in what? End of the year, a couple months later, the car's dead. They should have switched it around and then at least hung on for another year. But then Corvette comes and
They did struggle. They did struggle to sell that car. Struggled badly.
Right. Which was shocking to me. Because if you put that next to a Corvette and you ask me which car I want, 9 times out of 10, it's always the Viper.
Honestly, even though the ZR1's faster, I'd still take the Viper.
I would. It'd be real hard for me not to take the faster car.
Chances are I couldn't repeat it either way.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm going to be.
I'm nowhere near the limit anyway. So
I'm
what
going to
difference
bet
does it
you
make?
that I would do incredibly similar lap times very slowly in either car.
Yeah, man. But then at the same time, the Viper kills people because it's crazy. It's a V10, 645 horsepower, and just throws people into the wall. Yeah, I'll take the scary one. So I can say I'm all that is man.
It's very not engineering of you, but I like
tamed
it.
the Viper. See, all that is man. That's another advertising campaign. Tame the Viper.
More cars need to be named after reptiles. We talked about
That's
this.
right. The shark, the new shark.
Yeah. Well, those are fish, but that's fine.
That's whatever.
Scary animals. Let's put it that way.
The new bear.
Predators.
Velociraptor.
the new grizzly.
Exactly.
There's already a raptor, Robbie.
That's what I'm saying. It's sold.
And yeah,
It's sold like
used ones
hotcakes.
are as expensive as new ones.
Speaking of new cars that are as expensive as used cars, the Toyota Supra. So,
Oh man, there's a table. Jesus,
all right, so
hold on.
I have a 2017 FRS versus a 1998 Supra twin turbo. The weights. The FRS is at
Are you
2,800
fucking
pounds.
kidding me, Robbie?
2,800 pounds. The
man.
Supra's at 3,300 pounds.
For those that can't see this is a picture of a red Supra next to a red FRS or BRZ or 86 or whatever you want to call it.
Toyobaru.
It's got a table underneath it, and Robbie's reading the table.
All right, so 0 to 60 for the FRS is 6.2 miles per hour, or 6.2 seconds. It's a 2-liter NA Boxer 4-cylinder with a 6-speed, MSRP of $26,000, 205 horsepower, quarter mile in 14 and a half seconds. Supra has a 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. It's a 3-liter twin turbo inline 6, new in 98, $38,000.
Jesus Christ.
In 2018, with 100,000 miles, $40,000. 320 horsepower, 13.1 quarter mile.
So it
And
is
then
faster.
It is. It's a dramatically different car. But then this is where I built an advertising campaign. This is what Scion tried to do when they came out. Did you know that there was a program through Scion for a new car called Optimize Scion?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. They failed.
I agree wholeheartedly.
But their website's down because Scion's not a thing anymore.
Weird.
But there's a good article on it on IGN when it came out. So what Scion did when they first came out, because they wanted it to be a car that you could customize, make it your own, you could go to Scion, and then there were companies that partnered with them. So like Tyne, Sparco, just some legit brands. And you could get your Scion ordered from the factory with these parts installed on them. The factory would install them. You'd get the Scion warranty, and then for those parts, you'd get the manufacturer's warranty. So you could get a new Scion with Tyne suspension from the dealer. And that was their gimmick. They were gonna have.
Why didn't they advertise that everywhere?
I honestly didn't even. I remember rumblings about it, and I came across it on this going, why didn't everybody know about this? Why wasn't this a big deal on the FRS?
Because then you could go in, you could pick what you wanted, you could finance the whole thing. You didn't have to work on your car, because some people don't like working on their car.
They just want to race it.
They just want to
people
autocross or
shouldn't.
whatever. Some
That's
people
true.
shouldn't. Some people don't have space to work on their car. And then they just send it to you, and it's done.
Yep, so that was my thing. So I was going to have them compare this Toyota Supra to the 17 FRS. There's at least a $10,000, $12,000 difference. Build a better Supra for less than a real Supra. So you could go in, get all these parts through the Optimized Scion group, and have it be less than $40,000 and be faster than the Toyota Supra Twin Turbo. That would be my advertising.
There is a TRD turbo also.
Wasn't
that
it a blower?
They will install. It could be a blower, it could be a turbo.
Yeah, they didn't really
I think they were
advertise that one
blowers
either.
on the TRD.
They could install it at the dealer. It was a dealer installed option.
Well,
You do that with TCs and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Which
So-
I think I know Robbie is. I think Michael, are you pro TC?
Yeah,
I
I like
liked
the
it.
I like
I
the
thought
TC.
it was a
yeah.
great
I actually
car.
like the older TCs more.
I agree with that
I-
statement.
yes,
the
I like
first
the
gen
older
was
ones better.
better.
Yep.
But they were cool. I always thought that Scion should have done better than they did.
Right. They came out of the gate right. They advertised to the young people. They wanted people to customize it, make it their own. It was a cheaper car that you could just go in and pull it apart and replace shit.
I almost think that they tried too hard.
And then didn't try hard enough.
They made the effort to be cool, and in the process of doing that, they were uncool.
Yeah. They should have pushed what Robbie's saying a lot harder, because if they had done that, then it would have just been cool instead of
Right.
trying to be cool.
Right.
Like, hey, you can come in, we'll get you, whatever you said were available for parts, coilovers and whatnot. We'll do all this stuff for you. You can come in here and you can buy it, you can finance it. It's good to go.
Yeah,
that's
how
what,
I would have wanted to do it. And also, it would have been, like, granted, it's not really possible, but like if they would have came out with like the FRS first and been like, this is our staple instead of the TC. Like, I understand they need to build to that, but if that would have somehow magically happened and that would have been their platform, I think they could have gone even further.
Do you think they would have been better off just selling those cars as Toyotas
Yes, without a doubt.
and not making a separate brand out of it?
they could have done like
Because then it's got the Toyota reputation, which is good. But I think
they could have pushed the TRD program. They could have just put them out as Toyotas and then had specific TRD marketing for certain models.
Yeah.
Which probably would have worked out a lot better. And just say, you have advertisements with TRD TCs and FRSs or whatever, and just like, here's what's possible, or just have advertisements for that car, but then talk about the modifying culture or whatever. You can. It didn't have to be a separate brand in order for them to position them differently in people's minds.
I wonder if parents would have latched onto them for first cars, for people who are in a position where buying a new car is an option.
Yeah.
If parents would have latched onto them better had they just been Toyotas.
Yeah.
Because when I go and talk to my dad, I'm 15, almost 16 years old, and he said, here's a budget. I want to buy you a new car. I want you to have a warranty and all that stuff. If I go and talk to him about this Toyota, I feel like I'd have a better chance of talking him into it than if I went and talked to him about this Scion, which, number one, he's never heard of, and number two, when he looks into it, is advertised as this youth brand, and that just makes him feel weird about it.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I think they would have been better off as a Toyota.
Interesting. I agree, but
That's not the route they decided to go.
no, as is often the case.
Yeah, very true. Anything else, Robbie?
I got one more. Oh, this goes back to my engineering ways. This is where I don't want to see gimmicks. Like, I just want to see test results. So, like, they had this obviously wasn't Toyota that did it, but somebody bought an 07 Toyota Tundra. I think they replaced the engine a couple times too, but like the body itself made it 1 million miles. And then the Toyota bought it back from and sold them a new one. But if Toyota wanted to go out there and like
Should just given them a new one.
Absolutely.
That should have been part of their program. Is like, here you go, you get a new one, and we're going to advertise the living shit out of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's worth the cost.
But like a company like Toyota that does push reliability and longevity, stuff like that, they should take trucks like this and then put them on like serious test beds, or like, the NASCAR dyno, and literally run it through its paces for 1 million miles and say, this car went 1 million miles and these are the small list of parts that we replaced, and this is the total cost.
Yeah.
I mean, if I want to buy a new truck and I want to make sure that I can count on it, like I can pull shit, and they just put it through the paces and let me know how long it's actually going to last. I realize that's not a very fun ad. Just very boring.
Matt Farah has that Lexus that is in the 900s.
Yeah.
And he, as best as he can tell, according to him, so you have to take his word on it, but as best as he can tell from the paperwork and documentation he has, it's on its original motor.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and Lexus has borrowed it several times.
They've
use it as a
Lexus
promotional
engineers have put parts on it. They want it to make it to 1 million miles. But these are like people who are invested in the company, but they are not the company.
Right.
I don't think Lexus cares. Lexus corporate couldn't give shit less. But the engineers behind it
absolutely.
are like, this is great.
Yeah, it just shows.
They should, though.
They
should. Lexus should, because what's it going to cost Lexus? Nothing for them to assign an engineer to it. Like, hey, dude, just make sure this car doesn't die before 1 million miles, and then when it gets to 1 million, call us and we'll write.
Especially because he's who he is.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? That's advertising that literally no one else can do. So why wouldn't you do that? And it appeals to your your market segment, which is older people.
That's Toyota too. So
Just it's no brainer. Just pick
Right.
it up and run with it.
right.
Anyway, so we've had a moron's perspective. We've had an engineer's perspective. What's your perspective, Adam?
Well, so I picked an interesting car, a car that is no longer with us, but only recently. The Kia Forte Coupe with a K.
Which I want to say
That's
first
a
of all,
thing?
I do like these. I don't
So-
think I'd buy one.
So okay, so here's my argument. This is a car that I think anybody who bought a Civic in this era should have at least looked at this car before buying it.
Yeah.
So the turbo with the 1.6 cylinder in it, or 1.6 liter in it, 1.6 cylinder.
That's not many.
It's only got 6 tenths.
not very
of a
many
cylinder.
cylinders.
It's a bad deal. 201 horsepower. You could get it in a manual, fully loaded, 22 grand. Now this is me Googling and reading old articles because this car doesn't exist, so I can't.
Right.
I have no idea what fully loaded means. That could be, nav, heated seats.
No one can prove you wrong.
Right.
It's whatever you want it to
Right.
be.
So
Here, I'll tell you this. I owned a Veloster which had this engine in it, and they were all kind of fully loaded, which means they had leather and they had,
you had heated seats.
heated seats. I had touchscreen and all that stuff. So it's probably
Right,
the same
yeah.
trim package,
I mean, Hyundai and Kia are
which was
the same.
24,000
Right.
MSRP. So
So
cheaper.
to me, this car does not look that bad.
No.
I think it looks
And
perfectly fine.
being the weirdo that I am, if I'm going to go out and buy a brand new little 2-door, kind of fun but economical, relatively cheap car, I don't want the Honda because everybody has the Honda. So I'd go look at this because the TC is dead by now.
Yes.
When this is a 2017 model, or it died in 2017.
Okay.
So, but this is a car like Robbie said. That's a thing.
I don't know. It's a thing.
He didn't know it was a thing. This is my point to this car. Kia had a car that I think they could have marketed to enthusiasts, but didn't, and therefore no one ever bought it.
Yeah, it had the same marketability as a Honda Accord or a Civic.
Right, a Civic to me, or
The 2 doors.
right. If you get so next picture, Robbie. They did take this car racing.
Ah, hell yeah.
So it raced in Pirelli World Challenge, stuff like that, which gets it out there, but doesn't really put it in front of the right crowd to me.
Not the masses.
Right. Number one, it doesn't put it in front of the masses. And number two, I don't think it's putting it in front of the right crowd because I think this car should be sold to to youth, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what that kind of 40-year-old people are not going to go out and buy
Right.
that car.
No.
I know that's realistic, but
You can
fresh out
sell-
of college,
Absolutely.
I think but they're not watching PWC.
No.
They're watching Grid Life. They're watching. You can't take it drifting.
No.
I mean, you
from
can because
Is it?
Toyota takes that fucking
Oh.
front wheel drive thing drifting, and they had Scions for a while. So yeah, you can, but I don't.
There's
think
a
that
weird rule in there about
Yeah,
something.
they have to use like original pickup points. It's very.
Yeah.
It only works with certain cars.
Yeah, it
Right.
just happens to work with that AX or whatever it is.
IA.
Yeah, it might be IA.
I know it works best with cars that were originally
Asmo.
all-wheel drive. That's why Faust uses that Passat, which has an LS in it, even though it's Volkswagen backed, which
Nice.
is hilarious.
Yeah,
to
it
me.
doesn't make any sense at all. But whatever, Volkswagen. Y'all make a V8,
But
by
since
the way.
it was rear-wheel drive, or since it was all-wheel drive, it has the ability to
Yes,
take
yep.
the center section
You're right.
that is required. So I think that they would have done better sponsoring a shop, that, and then had them take it racing. Take
Yeah.
it to Time Attack events, take it to Grid Life, take it to Global Time Attack, maybe take it to it's probably not going to be radical enough to do it, but maybe take it to like Ultimate Track Car Challenge, a few other more grassroots races that are more interesting to younger crowds. Because I think Time Attack is a predominantly younger group
Yeah, I'd say so. Sure seems that way anyways.
Yeah.
as compared to club racing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is
Definitely.
for sure.
the other end
Yep.
of the spectrum.
Right, exactly. So that's where I think kudos for them taking it racing, but you went the wrong place. There's this company, which I think you, Michael, have talked about before, called Torque.
Yep.
Also with a K.
Yep.
Apparently that's the thing.
It's cool.
They make tunes for these. You can buy a stage 1 tune from them. That's all it is an ECU flash. You literally have to send your ECU to them, which is a little bit annoying. 40 wheel torque, 40 wheel horse, 80 wheel torque
Jeez.
is what they claim. It's a very noticeable difference.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A couple $100. You're without a car for a week or two probably to get your ECU back. But
Shit, you could even just. I can't imagine those ECUs are that expensive. You could just buy a spare and then send that to them.
Probably you could go to a junkyard by now and try to find one.
Yeah, like $20.
so Kia, I think, is trying, or Hyundai, whoever it is that owns that group, is trying to make themselves kind of a performance-oriented brand. Look at the Stinger and stuff like that. But they have no heritage,
Yep.
which people seem to latch onto for whatever reason. Not a heritage guy, but so you got to start that, because
Right.
if you want to continue selling cars down the road, you need to get that ball rolling. I think they could have made it a performance division and made an equivalent, a TRD or an SI equivalent of this, and marketed it well, and sold that car. The only advertising I found for it, there was a TV ad. It's your typical handsome young fellow driving down the city streets, right? And he stops and picks up like 4 throughout the commercial. There's 4 different girls,
Nice.
and he's taking them.
Work out of this guy.
taking them to restaurants
Now
and
I
stuff
want a
like that. And so they're trying to sell this car as like, oh, girls love these cars. Newsflash: girls don't really care about cars, and they sure
like
as
that.
fuck don't care about Kias.
No.
So
Completely misguided advertising.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm not buying a Kia to pick
no
up girls.
one's gonna be like, oh, that Kia, he had some banging hotties in that car.
Drowning in poon in
Yeah.
that thing.
He gets it, man.
Yeah.
I better go get me a Kia. Nobody thought that. That
Nope.
was a failed ad. That was a waste of your advertising dollars.
You could maybe get somewhere with the Stinger now, but not this car.
Right.
By letting people think it's an Alfa Romeo.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. Just take the Kia badges off. Is this an Alfa Romeo?
Yeah, it's
yes.
carbon everything.
Yes, it is.
So, skip to the next couple pictures here, Robbie. So this car, in my opinion, actually does look pretty good lowered out.
Wide bodied.
Nope.
Get out of here.
I don't think so. I think that is the way she is.
Hot diggity. It
kinda
is
looks
kinda-
wide-bodied.
especially from here.
This one's a little bit stanced out, and honestly, it's a thumbnail from a YouTube video of some stanced car being stuck in someone's driveway.
Happens.
all
But
the
the
time.
car looks pretty good.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a TC because it's got that
Yeah,
square
it's
Yeah,
window.
that's
very
what I thought when I
TC-ish.
first saw it.
And
You couldn't get a turbo TC.
no,
There
I
you
think
go.
that this car could have been cool,
I agree.
but nobody tried.
No.
I seriously have never seen one. I'll probably see like 100 next week, but
Well,
I've never
that's
seen
the
one.
thing. They never advertise it as an interesting car, so it just blends in with. It's just another bland, boring car because they didn't bother trying to make it something exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been. And I would have bought that over a Civic. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with Hondas
No.
or the Civic of this modern generation. I'm sure they're great little cars, but I like being weird and frankly difficult. But a Kia is not being difficult. It has a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Not anymore.
And you could advertise to younger people that it does have a turbo, whereas the Civic doesn't.
So I read this car had similar issues to the Mirage, where they couldn't move them off the lot. And
Yep.
I read on a Jalopnik article that at the tail end of it being sold, after they had killed it in production, you could go to dealers and buy the $22,000 car for $15,000
Wow.
because they just needed it off the lot.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Just cut their losses.
That's a hell of a car for $15,000.
That's a lot
Yes.
of car for $15,000.
It's
There's
a
no doubt.
decent car for $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
I agree, absolutely. With how
So-
expensive everything else is,
Right.
it absolutely is.
That's the car I would have tried.
Yeah.
Put it
No, I agree.
put it in Super Street magazines, put it in D Sport. I don't even
I
look
like
at
D Sport.
magazines. Are those still things? I don't
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I think Import Tuner's dead, but Super Street.
Super
Yeah.
Street's big.
D Sport's still out there.
They've got big social media following.
Yep.
Give it to a race shop. Have them take it to time attack events. Have them take it to
Try to latch onto like the car show scene too,
Right.
'Cause, I mean,
Like
this would have been
it's
a
good looking
for
car.
them.
It would have been a decent car to put in Hot Import Nights and SEMA. And I mean,
yeah.
I don't like SEMA, but it sells cars, it sells parts,
Yep.
moves product. So I
Yep.
just think they failed on it.
Yeah, no, they did. Absolutely.
Seems to be a recurring theme with that company. I think they make a lot of good cars, but they focus their advertising time and money on
Hamsters. Hamsters. They have too many hamsters.
Very true.
I hate that vehicle.
It's terrible.
The Soul is
There's
so
two of those in our parking lot, and I
bad.
can't stand them.
That was one of those cars they tried too hard to be hip.
Yeah,
Like it has
they would've spent
illuminated
half
speaker,
the money on this car.
speaker rings and stuff like that.
Actually, they could have just not made that car,
And then, yeah,
focused
focus
all
on-
that money on this, and they would have actually made something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's a terrible car.
But the Soul outsold that.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
And I don't know what
People
that
knew what the
says.
Soul was.
I don't know what that's. Well, that's the thing. Like it or not, that hamster commercial was very successful
It was, and I bet it sold a lot of
because
souls.
all you had to do was say hamsters, and I knew immediately what car you were talking about.
Yep.
So therefore, it worked. It's successful advertising.
Right. Even if it's bad, it's still successful.
If it gets in front of 10 million people, it worked.
That's why I think that GM should be paying Mach.
Mike.
Just bring him into the office. Just let him make the videos.
Don't bring him into the office.
What do you mean?
Let him do what he's doing. You keep doing what you're doing. Let him keep doing what he's doing. Just send him a check in the mail.
This guy's getting double the views for a Chevy commercial.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
We've all watched them.
We have. We
More
talked
than
about
once,
him in length.
probably.
Anything else on the
That's all I got.
coupe? Or no, it's very much coupe. It's
It's
K-U-P.
K-O-U-P.
K-O-U-P. Is
Cayup.
Coop with a
Kia
K.
Cayup.
that it?
Yeah. I
Are
think
you
so.
done with advertising?
I don't know what else to say about
I
it.
got nothing.
Perfect. Let's move on to the news. How's that sound?
Ah, sounds nice.
Second gen Formula E cars are here, and they are faster than the first gen.
And they don't do vehicle changes halfway through the race anymore.
Nope.
Oh, I missed that part.
186 mile an hour
Damn, son.
potential top speed.
Oh, potential. I don't want to hear about potential. I want results.
So the car hasn't they haven't
Yeah, this is a rendering.
Right.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Drive Tribe.
an
I even have the ad blocker on.
Nah, that was a sign-in thing. It's because you're not
yeah, it's a
signed in.
sign-in thing. Sorry.
Oh.
I
That's
probably,
that's probably why that site's not popular. Because
I
you got
probably
to sign
shouldn't
in.
use Drive Tribe. My bad.
That's all right.
But
Or should've signed in. That's my bad.
I don't think that this is a good move for them.
I half disagree.
I think that the closed fender thing is a problem.
Well, that's the weird thing is it's closed fender in the front and then the back's wide open.
But it's not completely closed on the front, is it?
No, but
You
it
get the
has
inside and the
fenders.
outside, but it's just got like an over fender thing.
There's no
Right.
Hold on, I got to
So-
find a rear picture of it.
So the really funny thing about this article, if you read it, is at first they claim that it's purely aerodynamic changes that have made this difference. So what they're trying to tell us is that it went from 140 or something
Ish, yeah.
to 186 purely because of aerodynamics.
Right, it's just better. It's more efficient.
Oh, by the way, they increased the battery size, but it's really the aerodynamics that made the huge differences. It's like, come on, guys, really?
Well, the batteries was to. I'm sure they're pitching it as now we don't have to stop.
yes.
Yeah, and
Which
that's
may be true.
and that's what they do need to focus on that because that does
Right.
take away from the race in my opinion.
So here's a picture of the back of the car, and that rear wheel is
wide
basically
open. So
right out there.
I think the front fender thing, though, for some reason, open wheel guys, so they're trying to draw on Formula One's popularity.
Oh, without
That's
a
what
doubt.
Formula
That-
E's after.
Yep.
And I think that putting a fender over your front wheel is going to kill it for a lot of diehard Formula One guys.
Yeah, it does look strange that your back's wide open like that and then your front's kind of covered. And then they adopted the halo, which is stupid.
Can't we dial this ridiculousness back a little?
I still understand why.
IndyCar last year, everybody hated them. The new one, they dialed it back a little bit. They brought it back. They calmed shit down. They look great. People love it. I think it's
you
going to
seen
be
this?
a good move.
No, I'm learning as we go here.
Yeah, the
Formula or
IndyCar did the windscreen now.
yeah, they have a windscreen, but their new car is. Oh, I wasn't talking about the Halo. I was talking about the car in
I'm talking
general.
about the halo, but
Holy
yeah,
balls, that's a huge windshield.
That's-
but
that's
that's
the,
so
uh,
much better than the
Halo thing?
the sandal thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if you put these on a Formula One car or Formula E car, and it does the same type of protection.
So are they claiming that's structural?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a new material.
and you can see through it at least?
Yeah,
It's just glass.
It's not glass.
Or well, I mean,
It's not Lexan.
It's a winch.
Yeah, it's not Lexan either. It's
Whatever it is that
it's
they
some
can.
polycarbonate magic something or other.
Magic's for sure in the title.
I knew it like 2 hours ago. I can't remember it now,
Fair enough.
but I thought it was.
So we don't like the Halo then, is what we're saying on the new car.
I was actually talking about the new IndyCar in general. Last year's looked ridiculous, much like Formula One cars do. This year's 2018's, it's completely redone. It looks a lot more like the old school Indy cars. It's a lot more tame. It doesn't look as ridiculous and futuristic and sci-fi, and people like it a lot more. And I think that's part of the problem with Formula E. This looks ridiculous. So
Yeah.
there's a new form. Or the
But even this has that kind of.
It's got a little bit of
it's
a
got that old school IndyCar look.
front.
Yeah, I mean it's a good looking car. I like the new aero package on them.
Yeah, it's got something on the front wing that kind of starts the air around the top of the front tire.
Yeah.
So it's not really a fender.
But it doesn't have wings on wings on wings and
No.
No.
And stuff like
and
that.
it shouldn't really.
Right.
See, I'm not at all offended. You know, take it from me who doesn't watch any motorsports. I'm not at all offended by that design. You know, I don't know. I could see the point that open wheel guys are open wheel guys. I get that 100%, but I'm not offended by
Formula E.
the Formula E car design. You know, I don't even. The Halo is what it is. You know, the fenders are what they are. To me, you know, I don't know. The design of the car doesn't really affect me unless it's got like a sex aid on the front, like the Formula One cars did for a while. That was just kind of like, really, what are we doing here, guys? But
that got a little weird for a while there.
it was weird, and then everybody was making jokes about it, and it was just kind of like, it's just kind of awkward now. But so I don't know. The design's fine. I just think that I think it's completely audacious to say, oh well, we're going to steal some Formula One traffic because our cars do 40 miles an hour faster than they used to do. That is such fallacy when it comes to the logic that it's amazing. It's like people watch Formula One. Again, going back to the heritage thing, it has heritage. People like heritage marketing. It's got a great name. I mean, everybody knows what Formula One is. And they make loud noises. When they went to turbo engines and smaller displacement engines and less horsepower, everybody got pissed about that. And people like Formula One because it makes a lot of noise. People like NASCAR because it makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And you don't make any noise. So I don't know what to
You're
tell you.
only going to get people who like racing for racing.
Yeah, if you're just a diehard, like, I love racing, this is on TV, I'm going to watch it.
I love the competition,
Yeah. You know, and
not the
maybe
experience.
maybe they would, you know, and I don't know that they have the money to do it, but maybe it would do them well to pay really well-known drivers with large social media followings to race in Formula E for a season.
Well, they do that thing with that like fan boost, I think is what they call it.
Oh,
where,
God, so stupid.
yeah, they're already trying to push that. Formula E seems like it
Social
was a
media thing.
sport that was specifically invented for social media,
Oh, it's definitely designed as a gimmick. It's 100% a gimmick.
which is not good.
No, and that's why
But
Formula One used to be so popular, is that it was just, Ferrari
bunch of
coming
guys
and
and
just
cigarettes.
throwing money at stuff, just throwing as much money as possible at something and seeing how fast we can make it go. And then you got a guy who's a sex addict and he smokes cigarettes and drinks whiskey all day long, and then he comes and races cars and everybody loves him, and he dies when he's 40, and there's a romanticism to that, whereas this is like really boring. It's just really analytical, cut and dry. There's no romance to it. There's no heritage. There's nothing really to draw you in. Because if you had the choice to watch this or Formula One,
It's a no-brainer.
yeah, you're not going to do it. So you're competing with people's time to do other things. What's your gimmick? And it's not fan boost, I'll tell you that much.
No.
well, so they try to be accessible to the masses. That's what they advertise it, because they can race in the city.
Yeah, on the streets.
And so that's what I think that they're hoping more that they can draw large crowds than that they can do well on TV.
If they came here,
That's the niche they're trying to make.
I would go. If
Right.
they came to Minneapolis, I would not go.
I agree with that statement 100%.
Yes. If they were in Des Moines, it's like, oh, it's a 10-minute drive. Yeah, let's do that. If it was like 4 hours, I'd be like, that's 3.5 hours too many for me. Thanks. I don't even think I'd go to Omaha if they were in Omaha, and that's 2 hours.
No, not likely.
I'd be like,
I
are we
would
also
ap-
drifting? And then, no? Okay, I'm
I
not
would
going then,
apply for press tickets.
thanks. If they let you in for free and let you
Right,
behind the barrier,
exactly.
you
Then
okay,
I'll
okay.
go.
I'll give you that one.
But I wouldn't even bother in Minneapolis
No.
Absolutely not.
unless they paid my expenses.
See, and I think another thing that they're doing wrong
You throwing
is
that out there to them if they're listening? You hooked them on the
Then I'll go
marketing.
wherever
They're
they need me
Oh,
to
this
go."
podcast is doing a whole episode on marketing. I'll listen to this, and then just so happens it's the marketing guy from Lee.
I'll go wherever they need me to go at that point.
Well, if they call me up and say we want you to be our sole podcast provider, I'll change this to Maximum Formula E Cast if we have to. I don't give a shit.
They don't have enough money to sue us, right? It'll be fine.
yeah.
We'll just make friends with them. Like, you guys do drifting, we do Formula E. What's the big deal?
Let's get one of these in Formula Drift.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we'll give you a Formula E car. We could drift at a Grid Life. We could all be friends. What's the problem?
That I'd watch.
People would watch that. That's
Yeah.
what they should do.
So
Anyway, we don't think this is going to work. I think it sums that
I
up.
don't think it makes it any better. Let's put
Well, I
it
think
that
all
way.
this aero is not going to make racing any better.
No, that as well.
I think we've proven that in Formula One. And
Right. And practically every other racing.
yeah, if you want it to be competitive racing, you can't have aerodynamics conquer everything.
Yes.
So they'll just put the guy in front or you have to make everything active, which also doesn't work.
No, I don't like that either.
No, that's awful.
Faster cars are good. Louder cars are better. I
Yeah,
think that sums it up. Pro racer Scott Speed, which I assume is a fake name,
Can't be fake, it's
is
real.
suspended from iRacing for purposefully knocking people off the track. This is online, people. This is on iRacing.
What I think is fantastic is that I don't bother going on Gran Turismo because that's what this is. It's just a bunch of 14-year-old kids using me as the turning or as their braking zone before
Right.
entering their corner.
Yes.
Apparently, on what is supposed to be the adult racing game, the professional race car driver still doing the same bullshit.
yeah.
He's ex-Formula One.
He races in WRC now, and
he's a
he's
champion.
quite successful.
He's being paid by iRacer.
yeah.
Or he has been
that-
paid by iRacing.
Well, he was highly involved in making all the rally stuff.
Yeah.
That's his baby.
Yeah, WRC. He is one of the most successful WRC drivers there is right now.
It's not his real name, though. I'm not buying this shit
might
for a
be.
second. His
might
name
be.
is not Scott Speed.
Do you think?
I'm sorry.
What if it is, though?
It's nice to meet you. What's your name? Scott Speed. What do you do? I'm a race car driver. I would say, bullshit, sir. Go fuck yourself. That's not true.
Because his dad, his dad's an accountant, and his name is Bob
Scott Speed, real name. Scott Speed.
It's real.
Scott Andrew Speed. Damn it. What's his? He works.
He was just born.
Click
to
on
be
it.
a racer.
Click on it.
We should see
Has
if
he got
he
his
wants to be
lineage on there.
We should see if he wants to be on the show. Yeah, because I could change my name to Scott Speed.
Scott Andrew Speed. What's it say? Anything? You got parents? Go down that sidebar thing. Go down to the bottom a
Say
little
parents
bit. We're
in
on
there?
Wikipedia
Whoa, hey there. Yeah.
for those that are listening.
It's American. It's nationality.
American.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's his real name. We'll get him on and ask him.
Yeah, let's
That'd
ask
be my
him.
first question.
All right, that's
What's your real name?
Hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah.
It's his real name. I'm calling it.
Damn, he's done a lot of stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
He's a very
been a
talented
very
driver.
successful man.
16 wins and
Global
37
Rallycross.
podiums in Rallycross.
Audi Sport TT Cup, Formula E, Super Trofeo North America, IndyCar, Rolex Sports Car, ARCA, A1. That's like a third of the
ARCA.
list.
Yeah.
It's just called ARCA.
Arca. Yeah. Very successful man.
Yes.
Bizarre. Anyway,
Yeah,
he's
so
not
he-
allowed on iRacing anymore.
Yeah, so he was
for
on-
the time being.
Doing
He's
racing.
suspended.
He got bumped, spun out, and then spent the rest of the race chasing the guy down and knocking him out of the race. And then he complained, and then he got suspended. Well, that's it. iRacing is supposed to be. It's even a step above simulators. It's supposed to be as real as
Should
it
be
gets.
civilized. There's a lot of professional race car drivers who actively use iRacing.
Yeah, and that's kind of been my deterrent from it, is because I'm not.
It's too serious for you?
Yeah, I don't do simulators enough to even be that proficient at it. So like when I get on, it's usually like I got an hour, and then I can just kind of do Gran Turismo or something just to kind of knock cobwebs loose in the winter.
I certainly can't justify the monthly cost.
No, I can't justify a monthly cost. I don't use it enough. And the last thing I want to do is get into somebody's lobby, and maybe I don't need to. Maybe you can do it by yourself. But I don't want to get into someone's lobby and then be like, "All right, we're dead serious about this," and have me be like, "I'm."
And you're just getting blown up by cars as
I'm
they
a
go by?
freaking noob, and I'm gonna get in your way.
You're a rolling chicane. and
You're on
nobody
people's
likes
lines.
that.
and-
yeah. So, but people take that seriously. They're paying monthly fees, and you got a guy that's like this big of a name going out there and just wrecking people like it's Gran Turismo or Need for Speed, yeah, it's not good.
Tony Stewart plays in the NASCAR one.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
It's bizarre.
That's how serious it is.
Even Dale Earnhardt Jr. still does it now. Yeah. I mean, you could be racing against him.
Could
just
you
go
imagine?
online and you're playing.
What a crazy world we live in, right?
Yep.
It's
It is.
pretty cool. But
the rules are rules, and they said doesn't matter who you are.
I think kudos to iRacing for doing this because they could have turned the other way and pretended it didn't happen, but they didn't.
Right.
So kudos to them for standing up.
To Scott fake name.
Scott real name. Speed. His
You think Will Power? Do you think that's his real name? I mean,
Yeah,
come
but
on.
that kind of sounds
Will
like
Power.
a name. Like we're gonna name him William. You know, it just so happens his name is Willpower.
His parents are for sure hippies.
No, he's looking it up. Willpower real name came up. Oh wait, there's a YouTube person.
Yes, that's my real name.
That's a YouTube person.
Sports USA. Will
Oh,
Powers.
that one is okay. Anyway, I guess that's Willpower's real name. That one I can believe. Scott Speed? I don't think so. A company allows you to rent out your garage space to other DIYers via an application on your phone.
It's called Garage Time.
Would you do this for your garage?
Absolutely not.
I'm hoping.
This is the
That you-
weird thing for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they have your credit card information. Like you have to pay through the app, so you should have all your information there. So if you go and let someone into your shop, and you just happen to not be there for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden your $2,000 for the tools disappears, they're liable. But
They have an insurance, a very good insurance
Yeah, I'm
policy.
sure there's
there's
a-
got to be something that
Or they have a dotted line and they hope nobody's reading the fine
Maybe.
print.
yeah.
Well, it said that how many people are on this? 15,
like
25
27
or something like that.
It's
There are some people on there that
It's
have
only-
spaces for
It's
rent.
only available in select cities as it stands today.
Is it?
From
Okay.
what I went to their website because I wanted to see if it was actually they call it an app first of all.
Yep.
But it's
And
not an app?
It's well, so I first thing I did pull up my phone, type it into the Apple Store, didn't show up. So I went to their website and I didn't find like link to iTunes Store, link to Google Play. I didn't see that. So I think for now it's just a website. It's probably an app in development, and they're because it's a lot easier to make a website. So this is getting the ball rolling,
Yeah.
and I'll bet you that they just sent a bunch of emails out to a bunch of different websites and hope that one of them would pick it up, and now they're going to get some traffic.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is maybe this is shop like a shop that's really big that has extra lifts that can be like what for $30 $45 an hour you can come in. This lift is yours, but you have to be here
So-
when we're here.
No such luck on Android.
One of those, there was a place here in Des Moines that that old car dealership that's just north of Merle Hay Mall.
Yes.
That used to be, for a short period of time, a DIY garage. They had lifts, they had tools, they had everything. You just needed to show up and pay an hourly flat rate. And they did not succeed.
No, and I think it might be even harder in Des Moines or like small town Iowa.
Right. So
there's-
if I remember right, it was like Denver
Denver.
and Philly or something.
Yeah.
Like bigger cities.
So if you have an apartment but you have a car that you want to work on,
This would
that
do,
makes more sense.
I feel like this would do really well in Chicago,
New York.
where you don't have space to work on your car. There's literally no space, and I can just go rent this place for, I don't know, pick a number, $30 an hour, $50 an hour.
So this is one of those weird things. I want them to succeed because I think it's a good idea,
Don't see it happen.
but there's a 0% chance that I would allow them to use my garage for it.
There'd be a lot of fine print in my contract if I let people use my shop. Mostly meaning me be there.
I think that's probably
We have
the case.
we have to become friends. Then you can work in my shop, and then I still need to take a long time to trust you.
Robbie needs a dating app for people who want to use his garage. Is basically
People can rent my garage, but I have to trust you.
It's $8,000 an hour, though.
It's really not that
and
expensive.
and he needs his credit card.
Yeah, I need to hold your license and credit card while you're here, and I need to know your social security number. So if you take my stuff, I'll break your kneecaps.
cash on delivery.
Yeah,
Plus credit card.
but I can see this being a good way to I got a decent sized shop. Yeah, I can make some money having people come over and use it. Saturdays is come on over.
I'm already in there. What do I care?
Yeah,
The flip side of it is Airbnb's working pretty well. So
I've read a lot of horror stories about Airbnb, though.
right.
true, but what's your percentage?
I don't have any idea.
I don't know. Yeah,
'Cause-
the biggest thing is just having tools. Just tools walk away even when it's not people you don't know.
When I'm the only person in the shop,
They still disappear.
still lose tools.
Yeah, but then you have somebody that you kind of vaguely know through an app, and he's using your tools. And I'm particular about my tools, and they're not even that nice.
How many times have you done something inside of your car, hopped in it, drove it down the road, and the first time you hit the brakes, a socket came rolling out from underneath the passenger seat?
Like every time.
Yeah. So how often is that going to happen to
Or
your
how many
tools
ti-
when somebody in somebody else's car?
Yeah.
You think you're going to get that back?
I suppose
Unlikely.
you could put a provision in there that, your tools are locked and you need to bring your tools
You could do that.
and you're just using the shop space.
You could even have like a checklist of tools you have to check every time you go in the shop. Well,
But that kind of
That's missing.
that kind of defeats that almost defeats the purpose of the what I assume will be an app.
yes.
Like because I assume you're supposed to be able to check people in and out via the app.
Yep.
And they can kind of come and go to some extent.
Yeah, and I think the way I read it was that you could kind of, it's your shop, so you can kind of set the rules. So if you're like,
Yeah.
well, shit, you can come in 24 hours a day.
Here's
a key
the
fob.
code or
here's
whatever.
Here's a key fob, and I just need to know when you're here. And if you're that trusting and the people that are using it are that trustworthy, great. In the real world, I have a hard time thinking that's going to work.
The flip side of it too is I saw, there was different rates, and you could set your rate depending on what's available in your shop. One of the things that they mentioned specifically was a lift. I was like, I don't think I want I don't even care who it is. I don't really want anybody using a lift I own.
Yeah, you don't know what they know about them.
I don't know who this person is. I don't know if they know where they need to set it.
Drop their car off of your lift. And who's liable?
I see people put jacks on pinch points all the time, which drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Smashes those pinch welds
Or if you have my car, there isn't any left.
because they smashed them all.
Oh, yeah.
It's like put it on something structural. Put it on the frame if it's there. Find another structural point to put it on. But people put them on the pinch welds. It drives me insane. Don't do that.
No, it's structural. It's fine.
Kind of, but no.
Not when like 2 inches later you can just
Yeah,
go,
like literally when you're jacking
There's
your
a
car
rail
up and you
right
hear it go because it's smashing that pinch weld.
it's fine.
That's
Don't worry
not
about
where
it.
you should
No,
be jacking your car up.
Pretty sure it's fine.
You can get Crazy Jack's garage for $10 an hour.
Crazy Jack. I don't think I want to be there. It sounds like Jack's going to take my spleen.
He sounds crazy.
He only makes meth when people aren't there.
Yeah, it's a 2-stall garage, like at the bottom of a townhouse for $10 an hour. No reviews. I mean, yeah.
What's the benefit to Jack of that? You're there.
$10 an hour.
Yeah, but what is that? What's that do for you though? What's $10 an hour do for you? Is it worth
Pizza.
the headache?
Free pizza every
Is it
day.
worth the headache or
feel
the
like
noise?
It's
or
too hot and ready's, man.
The people. Oh god. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. You're right. My point's invalid.
No, so where I imagine this is like some old retired guy who's just bored and wants to talk to people.
Yeah, and he's
That would
you're
work.
paying at that point. You're paying him $10 an hour to bore you to death. And I just don't see that.
You don't get a lot of repeat customers.
And I don't want to participate in that at all.
Crazy Jack was a really nice guy, but I'm not going back.
Yeah.
Like my grandpa someday. Like it'd be
Yeah,
that type of thing.
old. Okay,
Right,
so that's
yeah,
what it's going to be. It's just going to be a bunch of old guys who don't leave the shop, and you're
Right.
just going to come in and work on stuff. They're going to see everything that you're
Right,
doing
and
anyway.
So there's going to be a bunch of 20-somethings renting their shop space so that grandpa can tell me, A, what I'm doing wrong,
Right.
and B, how my generation is killing us.
Right.
It's just ruining this world.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
No, I don't need that either.
If I wanted that, I would just call my grandpa.
Yeah, I got family members to do that to me. I don't need to pay someone. I could get that shit for free.
Go next door, whatever,
Anyway, is that it on this?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's move on to that.
Yeah, I'll say it could work, but
It could work.
It won't.
It may work. Who knows?
maybe.
Next news topic is Tesla. Based, let's see. No, sorry. There's a Tesla-based electric car GT series that has FIA approval.
You guys can talk about this all you want.
Robbie's not interested in this at all. So, to give you some details while Robbie's falling asleep, it's called the Electric GT series, and it's obviously based on Tesla. It's based on the Model S, from what I can understand.
P100D.
There you go.
P100Ds.
They claim 1,000 pounds lighter than the stock car, and it'll do 2.10 to 60s.
It's quite fast.
That is class.
If I had more money than sense, I might do this.
I would rather
I
watch
consider
this over Formula E.
Agreed.
Yes, I would go with that. If they're going to go to Laguna Seca or whatever and tear it
Well,
up some weekend.
If I remember right, wasn't it talked about as a feeder?
Possibly. I don't know if it was in what I read.
Formula E lights type of thing.
I'd rather this be a standalone, but who knows? Yeah, it probably would be a feeder.
So,
but there's no schedule yet. It's supposed to be
Right.
coming out later this year. They hope. They
means
hope
it
to
won't.
run a race. It seems weird to do a partial season, but that's what they say. So basically, I don't think there was a ton of information. How many cars did they say were going to be on track at the same time? Maybe 20?
No, 10 teams, 20 cars? Or
20
am I
cars.
backwards.
No, that sounds right.
it's certainly not 20 teams and 10 cars.
That wouldn't make
You
sense.
don't know. 20 drivers.
20 drivers. So you got 20 cars on track at the same time. It's normal. I mean, it's like a normal GT series. They've got it's supposed to be like a 3-day thing, isn't it? 3-day event, qualifying. Then you've got a race, and then you've got something very interesting, which is called the drift off, which is probably the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
But it's drifting.
Well, they say it is. It's the top 2 finishers from the race,
And
the top. This is where it goes really downhill. Top. It's the top 2 fan voted drivers.
Oh, no. Damn it.
Back into that Formula E nonsense again. We'll go head to head in a drifting. It says drifting challenges for championship points.
yeah, so that you can get voted into this stupid drift thing and get points towards the championship every freaking time.
Even if you're not winning.
Yes.
You could, yes.
But see,
It's weird.
I think what they assume is that the person who's winning is probably the popular one.
That's not how that works.
It's not.
I think they also assume that people are going to watch this and that people will vote.
He won with 6 votes.
They're making a lot of assumptions.
They are making a lot of assumptions. The other assumption that
Robbie,
they're
I can add as many zeros behind that as I want.
That's true.
the other assumption that they're making is that these are rear-wheel drive cars, which they are not.
Aren't they?
Nope.
No,
they're
the
all-
D is a dual motor.
yeah, they're
car. It's
all-wheel drive.
drive.
So they're doing all-wheel drive drifting in electric cars using fan-voted drivers.
Huh. How could this fail?
How could it possibly
What
work?
drives me nuts is that this shit gets through, and people who like good racing, nobody gives a shit about.
No.
And this shit gets through.
This will be on ESPN.
Somebody's paying money to.
Yeah, someone will dump a.
this.
This will get like prime time Saturday night.
Somebody
NBC
knows
Sports.
somebody. Somebody's going to dump a whole bunch of money into this.
Uh-huh.
But you got a bunch of incredible drivers and in incredible cars struggling to make ends meet so they can go racing every weekend in any other mid-level racing series.
Yep. This is
I'm out.
pretty stupid.
So tired of gimmicks.
But they immediately went, they're like, well, I don't know if anybody's going to watch this because, the Tesla thing's not that interesting. Obviously, electric cars not that interesting. What is interesting? Drifting's interesting. Let's throw that in there. You know what else the marketing guy, our guy from Schmidt and Schmidt Marketing and Associates, he told us people really love fan engagement. So what we should do is we should take 2 people and throw it's just so stupid. It's just there was 2
What happens?
Why didn't the FIA go, nah?
What happens when the 2 people who win are also the 2 people who got the fan votes?
Poking holes in this already, Adam. Top 4?
I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I wasn't even really trying.
This is what happens when focus groups design things.
That's exactly what happened at the end. It's like, yeah, we know how to races make sense. Then let's throw this bullshit in here at the end.
Let's grab a bunch of random people off the street who've never watched a race in their
Right.
lives and ask them what they want to see.
I saw drifting at this thing. That was cool.
Drifting's cool. Smoke
Yeah.
and stuff. Okay, let's do that.
We could put some jumps in there, maybe. Yeah.
That I'd watch. Actually, yeah. Let's do
They should have thrown in a stadium super trucks aspect to this.
Yeah.
make them pre-runners.
There we go.
A
Now we're talking
pre-runner
electric,
Tesla?
electric pre-runner, jumping, racing. I mean,
They should have used Model X's, and then they could have done pre-runners.
Yeah. I'm in.
Again, nobody
fixed
calls.
it. Fixed it. Just fixed it just like that. It was just one idea that just came out. We got more. We could sit in a room all
We
day.
should be a focus
make
group.
billions of dollars. Is that it for this? This dumb idea?
I
Okay.
have nothing else.
Harley Davidson confirms that they're going to build an electric motorcycle.
I just realized we're
And
very
produces.
electric heavy this week.
We are.
Whatever, dude.
I
I
apologize.
don't apologize for nothing.
Probably doesn't give a shit.
So we thought this was dead.
We didn't think that they'd do it.
I did not expect this to make it where it has.
I didn't think they were going to be like first.
I also
First-ish.
I also hate myself for how much I kind of like it. I said it.
Here's the problem with this. I've thought about it a lot.
That's a good looking bike.
Not thought about. It is a good looking bike.
I'll let you go.
Okay, so I thought about this enough to analyze it, and I think the problem is with this is it's a good idea. It's great from a marketing perspective, tying into the topic, but it's a little bit jarring because it's Harley Davidson. If Yamaha had said, "Hey, we're coming out with an electric bike," I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool. That sounds good." But when Harley Davidson says, "We're producing a whole new electric bike. This is the direction of the company." Blah blah blah. You go, "Well, that feels weird. Something about that doesn't sit quite right."
Well, that's half true because like they do some interviews with like the guys that were involved in this, like the leads of this project, and they're like, "This is just another aspect of Harley now. They're like this is not going to take away from your Sportsters and your V twins, and like that's still Harley Davidson. This is just number 2."
Look at what happened with the V-Rod, because that's kind of what that was.
Yeah, but I think
And Harley guys hated the V-Rod. Don used to own one, and I used to work with a bunch of die-hard Harley guys.
Yep.
And he'd ride up to work because we had a shop right attached to the place I used to work at, and he'd ride up in there, and they'd like almost literally turn away from him.
I think the reality of the situation is, though, Harley Davidson is going to let those guys die because they can't
they're
keep.
not buying.
They have to.
They're not buying new bikes. They're just buying old bikes. So they're not selling bikes to them.
even if they continue to buy new bikes, they eventually die, and we are not buying those.
Right.
Apparently.
So they desperately need to capture younger market share, more market share, and so this is one way to do it. And it's a very modern looking bike. I think it's a great looking bike. I think it's not a bad idea.
It's very crotch rockety.
And that Harley Davidson got a lot right with this Livewire project. They took a bike, and then they kind of took the Buell design, like that, not quite a crotch rocket, but kind of a crotch rocket.
They won't use that term.
No, sport
It
bike.
does look like a Buell, though, to be completely
It
honest.
kind of looks like a Buell. So they went by not making it like a Sportster. That was right. That was the right thing to do. And then they're like, well, why do people hate electric bikes? Why do people love Harleys? Because they're loud as shit. So what do we do with this one? We make it loud as shit. And it's loud. It sounds like a jet turbine. It's awesome. Have you listened to this?
I don't
No.
hate that sound. Like
It's awesome.
Do you have a video of it?
I think so.
I know that
We don't have any audio.
Well, try it anyway.
people talk shit about like.
Can you turn the TV on?
Oh gosh, you're gonna make me move and stuff.
Hold on. We're trying to throw in some video and stuff, guys. It's getting a little wild.
They're never gonna hear that.
I need people around freedom.
Oh,
and
shoot.
the same desire to expand.
This is the wrong video. I had a really good video earlier.
Bummer. It sounds like a jet engine though, huh?
Yeah, I'll keep looking and see if I can get it to go.
We'll post it. How about that?
Yeah, we'll just post it somewhere, Robbie. We won't worry about it.
We'll
but
throw it up in the
I
group
think
and
that's
stuff
I think
like
that's a
that,
great
so.
idea. I think that will make people more apt to consider an electric bike. I think there are a lot of people that justify motorcycles because they're loud.
Oh, here's
Like, oh, it's safer because it's louder. I've heard that loud pipes save lives thing before.
Way too many times.
Yeah,
No,
and it's kind of a cliche.
but there's a lot of truth to it, if you ask me.
There is. I think there is as well. But it's definitely a good move coming from this company that specifically focuses on loud bikes. Oh, it does like whistle.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen the movie In Time, it's kind of a futuristic movie with Justin Timberlake's the main character, but all their cars are kind of electric sounding, and they sound like jet turbines, just like this bike does. So that's a good way to describe it if you've ever seen that, which is probably nobody, because I think it's great, but no one else does.
JT's my boy.
GT for life.
Don't know about that. Has bad
If I
choices.
had to go like hang out on like a Friday night with a celebrity, he'd probably be one of my first choices.
Here, let's see if
Robbie's messing with the video again. Sorry, guys that are listening.
He wants everyone to hear.
He wants to
this
make a
really
point.
badly.
Project Livewire experience is about collecting that information and understanding what is that customer looking for.
So we're out there giving.
Did anybody hear that?
I don't know if they did or
Just
not.
a bunch of dead
We tried.
silence.
yeah, well, yeah, it does. It just sounds kind of cool.
It kind of screams. It's very kind of futuristic-y, turbine-y sounding. So
So,
I think that's it for me.
do
on
you
this.
think that bike will sell to the youths?
Maybe not the youths, but I think I think it's going to sell surprisingly
Do
good.
they have
I think
a rough
people will buy
price
it.
point?
I
Even
I
at
don't
all?
think so. The data that I do have was that the only real competition, mainstream competition, meaning large names, is BMW, and they only sell a scooter, and it's called the C Evolution e-scooter or something like that.
Sounds terrible.
And it's $23,000, so it's not going to be cheap.
And I don't think this will be.
This will be expensive, but you know what though? The guy that has too much money, that has all the
he'd buy
toys
this.
and gadgets, he's going to buy that. The guy that just likes to show off crap to his friends, the guy that buys the Ferrari and
Yeah.
doesn't really care about Ferrari, it's just
Buys
like,
a
"Oh, I got
Viper,
Ferrari."
never takes you to a track.
Yeah, he's going to buy that.
Probably a Viper owner more than a Ferrari owner. Let's be real here.
I'd go the other way.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
On a Harley?
That
if it-
Harley,
this Harley?
that, if you go in there and
Maybe.
if they market that correctly, I think that
That'd
they
go
will
hand in
capture
hand.
a ton of, and maybe that's a lot of their market is, and I think it is. Harley Davidson is just rich guys that want a toy, something to show off to people. Like, look at my $40,000 cruiser, and or you could have a $40,000 electric bike.
Yeah.
So-
I'm very surprised at how much on board I am with this bike.
Maybe
I'm
I'm
surprising
wrong.
myself.
Maybe I'm wrong about this, but shouldn't electric motorcycles be really cheap? Because that stuff shouldn't be that. They're very simple.
Yeah, but
There's like
it's-
two moving parts on the whole damn thing. They should be relatively easy to manufacture. The stuff because they don't need giant battery packs. They don't need huge motors. They don't need insane amounts of cooling because they're not moving any real weight. They should be really cheap to manufacture. They should be cheaper to sell.
I don't think getting that battery technology is cheap yet or ethical. That's the biggest thing is getting ethical, cheap batteries. Not a thing.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know that there's such.
And
a
I
thing
mean,
as
this
an
has a
ethical
200
battery.
this has a 200-mile range, which is pretty shocking because
That's-
the prototype had 50.
50.
That's
yeah.
probably an
what-
average motorcycle range, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're not riding a motorcycle for 200 miles and not stopping.
You probably want to get off at that point, don't you?
Yeah, and actually,
Especially on this type of
that's
bike.
That's a good point. If you connect that to a fast charging station, what's that take? Like,
15 minutes.
yeah,
Maybe?
probably 15 minutes
A
or
more
less.
more realistic, reasonable time.
You actually,
sure.
you actually could ride that like some people ride Harleys, which is long distance.
Yeah,
You just
like,
need to.
from northwest Iowa to the Black Hills, and then for Sturgis, and you drive around there.
Yeah, you
and-
could if there were
it's-
charging points, you could reasonably do that and,
but- yeah,
and
by the-
not really be inconvenienced.
Yeah, and by the time you stop and let it charge, and either go to the bathroom, get a drink,
yeah, stretch out a little bit.
Yeah, by the time you're ready to go ride again, it's full charge.
And I think
This actually makes kind of a little bit more sense.
I think if you're
Almost more than
a
cars.
regular
Yeah.
Harley rider and you get on that thing's gonna blow your head off. You're
It's
gonna be
fast.
shocked at how fast that is.
all the torque, all
Yeah.
of it.
So it's overall, I think it's a good move. We'll see how well it works for him. I think the more expensive it is, the better it's going to sell, which sounds really weird. But I really do think that it's kind of first to market. I know there's some smaller brands that have them out there, but this is kind of the first mainstream brand. So if they kind of premium price it, premium position it, a lot of carbon fiber or whatever different
Yeah.
materials, technology, blah, 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 whatever else, I think it'll sell. And I think it's really good for the brand long term, and they can bring in some different customers, some new customers, et cetera, et cetera. So
But make it look like that.
Make- yeah.
I don't see it selling if it's not this type.
this
of
is
bike.
what we're looking at is the live wire concept, right? Because
Yeah.
this bike, we don't know what it looks like yet, but we hope to God it looks like that.
right.
Yeah,
Now, they made it sound like this is the path for this bike.
yeah.
yeah. If
Yeah.
they try to make it like a bagger, it's not. That's not going to.
No. Don't
There's
make
no way
it
it'll
look
sell.
like a Harley like we understand them.
Yeah, it has to be different.
It needs
dramatically
a new,
different.
It needs a new identity. Otherwise, the new target market's not going to buy it, and the old market's not going to buy it.
Correct.
It has to be its own identity.
Yes.
The crazy thing is there was a statistic in there or a note that said there were only 32,000 new Harley-Davidson buyers last year. So those would be people who did not previously own a Harley-Davidson. That seems like a surprisingly small number.
Well, I suppose.
I'd be scared
Yeah.
of that number if I was
Only
Harley.
32,000 people that didn't previously own Harley-Davidsons bought one in 2017. I think that's a real problem.
Yeah, they want that number to be huge. I'm curious what that is for other manufacturers, not
I
just
w-
motorcycles, but like everything.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what that is for like
Toyota, or-
F-150s or
Right.
Stuff like that. But to me, my gut, that number sounds really small, very small.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be like 100,000 or who knows.
I really want to know what that's compared to.
Did it say how many bikes they sell though? I mean,
Like 100,000, ain't it? No, it's more than that.
I'm not
is
really
that
sure if I had that
50% of
number.
their total sales? Can't be, right? I'm sure.
I don't know. Robbie's going to try to look it up.
We had it before, and I can't remember now.
Industry sales in general were down about 6.5%, but they were down 11%.
Oof.
Which is a lot. That's a big chunk of the market to lose.
125,000 in 9 months. That's all I got.
9 months of 2017.
So through the third quarter, they had 125,000.
Okay, so
in the
including-
United States,
not including that last quarter. So you could extrapolate that to be about 40,000 a quarter.
Yeah.
So you sell 160, maybe 170,000 bikes a year. Only 32,000 of those.
New.
So
brand
20.
new
Let's say
buyers.
what is that? It's probably less than 20%. Is that like 15%, 20%?
I'm not good at math in my head.
That-
You're
I'm
at
a bad- I'm a bad at
170. 32 divided by 170. You're pretty low. You're down there around between 15 and 20%.
That
That's
number
not
actually
very good.
doesn't surprise me because my assumption on the Harley food chain, most people don't buy a new Harley their first time out the gate because they're so expensive. You buy a used Harley, and as you get older, you slowly work your way up the Harley food chain. And when you're 45 years old, that's when you're buying new Harleys. But
Yeah.
you've already owned 2, 3, 4 Harleys in your
Yeah,
life. They've all
to
been
me,
used.
Yeah. And maybe I'm different, but yeah, that's absolutely how I would do it. My progression would go Yamaha Jog moped, and then from there I'd buy like maybe Yamaha R6 when I'm a teenager, an old teenager, like 20s maybe. And then when I get older,
Those are certainly teenagers.
well, teenagers to 20, you know,
Right, yeah,
when
I
I
know.
when I wanted
Just
a
have to call
crotch
you
rocket.
out on it.
No, like from 16 to 20, when I really wanted a crotch rocket in my life, R6. And then you bump up to an R1, and then you're like, well, now I'm sick of leaning over. And you move over to like is it the Shadow or whatever the hell their sport bike, not sport bike, their cruiser is
They're Harley
equivalent,
equivalent.
whatever you want to call it. And then you bump from there, you're like, well, this sucks, I want a Harley. And then you jump to a used Harley. And then from there, you work your way up until you're like, I want my own. And then you buy a new one. So I would agree with that, saying, like, I bet people have owned Harleys, but it took them many bikes before they finally bought a new one of their own.
I think most Harley owners just start out with Harleys. They just buy used ones to start with.
And I don't know if that number is never owned one, never owned a new one.
Yeah.
It might be never owned a new one. It
That would make more sense.
All this line says where the 32,000 new Harley Davidson buyers in the U.S. last year probably bought their first hog in large part due to its patented loud sound. So that doesn't tell you if
They say
Yeah,
they're
it's not-
first, though.
Their first hog.
their first hog is all it
Yeah,
says.
that could be very misleading.
Yeah, that statement is they were trying to put an editorial spin on a statistic, and we don't know what it means now. So.
Damn it.
But it was Hannah
You
Elliott.
marketing?
She's my journalist crush right now, so just let's leave her out of it, okay?
Oh, she gets a pass. Huh?
Yeah, she gets a pass because she's one of the very
She's kind of cute, so she
she's-
gets a pass.
she's one of the very few writers at Bloomberg that I enjoy.
It's funny.
Yep, that's her. She hangs out with Magnus Walker a lot.
I can see that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. Should we wrap this show up?
Yeah, let's get out of here, man.
Let's get out of here. Catch you guys next week.
Peace.